Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Find somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some not so great things to talk about today. When this is a day that we should be, spending our time to rest, be around family. Some of us go and worship this day. We have a mass tragedy that just came out of Blanc, Michigan, where multiple people have been hit inside of a church. Now this church is on fire. Yeah. From what I know so far, there have been a lot. We don't know everything yet. I want to make that abundantly clear. We don't know everything yet, but this is not good. Okay? This is not good. And from what I'm gathering, this is a Mormon church as well. So we're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes, guys. Okay? Like I said, this is all still developing. Still a lot of information that we are still trying to gather as best as we can. But we're going to get straight into the conversation here nonetheless. All right. So please do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below, please. And thank you. Hit that reaction button if you are watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on those platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, please make sure you hit that reaction button. Of course, hit that follow button. Follow. All right. Make sure you subscribe here on my YouTube channel. All right. Make sure you're doing that. Subscribe. Go to my second and third channel, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Go check those channels out. Subscribe if you can over there. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that notification bell on all those platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Of course, hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we're going to get all that crap out of the way because we have got to get into this conversation. So this has been going on for a little bit. I'm sorry I'm a little late to this story, into this case. And I'm sorry I couldn't do yesterday's mass tragedy, because late last night, while we were all resting our weary little heads on our pillows, sleeping, there was a mass tragedy that happened in Southport, North Carolina, where a man was on a boat and opened fire on people, taking lives of, if I got this correct, 3 individuals, 3 victims lost their lives. Now we're dealing with something first thing this morning with a church in Michigan, Blanc, Michigan. Now, what's really crazy about this is that this happened, no matter what, all of these mass tragedies that are happening are absolutely crazy. Let's just be completely real, all right? And there's a serious need and a serious conversation that needs to be had about control, if you get what I'm saying. Because this stuff is at an all-time high now. It is revved all the way up. And I think it's safe to say, before I've heard Blanc, I've heard Blanc. I pronounce it Blanc, like the French do. But moving on, here's the thing. I think it's safe to say that before we start politicizing the assailant, let's find out the information first. Because everybody is sitting there quickly going, oh, once again, it's another leftist. That's not right. We don't even know who this person is. We don't know who the assailant is and why that assailant did what they did. So before we start politicizing this stuff, let's look at what's going on. Let's look at the tragedy itself and figure out what's going on before we start pointing fingers. See, this is the problem with our country right now. We're too busy pointing fingers at each other rather than actually looking at the main reason and the main problem, which is these people going out of their way to do all these terrible things to innocent lives. These people that walked into this church were only doing one thing and one thing only, and that was completely innocent. They were worshiping, they were praising their Lord, they were doing their studies, they were presenting and showing up and trying to start their week off in a positive and a holistic and holy way. That is it. Let's stop with this BS of, once again, a leftist before we know anything, because it could have very well been somebody on the right too. Stop with the divisiveness. This is the problem with our country right now. This is the reason why people are running out here in these streets and doing these things. Stop it. Stop it already. We are in a world right now, we need to be more united rather than divided. So let's unite and figure out what's going on here, because these are kids, these are families, these are fathers and mothers and aunts and uncles and grandfathers and grandmothers that all could have lost their lives in here. So let's stop with the leftist crap and let's find out what's going on first. And if it is somebody on the left, then we're going to talk about it. But quit pointing fingers. Dear God, everybody going, he trans, he must be a trans. We don't know. All we know is that the assailant is deleted. They gone. But they did some very bad things before they were deleted. So let's find out what's going on here so we could stop this crap from happening, because I'm tired of talking about it. Aren't you? Doesn't matter the color of their political, their political side. It doesn't matter. They're running around with a pew-pew and hurting people. That's the problem. Let's figure this out. Please and thank you. God, I'm so sick of it. Moving on, though. Michigan church is set on fire. This person walked in, did this exactly, goat meat, demonic thing, opened fire on this church full of worshipers that were doing nothing but worshiping, y'all. Okay? That's it. And this monster walked in, lit the place up, and then lit the place on fire. We're going to be looking at footage here in just a minute. But again, we're going to be looking at all kinds of different periodicals, all different types of legacy media. So don't at me about the fact that I'm using CNN right now. We ain't got time for it. This kind of stuff aggravates me. Now I'm getting angry. This is me angry, guys. Welcome. Because we're at this place where this does not need to be happening. Okay? This does not need to be happening. Here's even so, Malia, you know what I mean, all the way from down under. Now she's even sitting here saying even more information that the state police boom boom squad is on the scene now, because apparently they found a device in the vehicle. Right now, you see what I'm saying? So instead of us going, it's these damn leftists, it's like, whoa, let's figure out what the hell's really going on here before we start pointing fingers, because there's still bad things. There's still mayhem going on right there at ground zero right now as we speak. This is insane, y'all. And it's still developing. Y'all should be just as pissed as I am. Y'all should be just as pissed as I am. The whole country should be pissed, but not in the way of, now it's time to get suited and booted and run into these places and hurt people. More like angry because there needs to be a change right now. And I'm sorry for raising my voice, but I'm so sick and tired of this. It's every day now, guys. It's a problem with our country, the entire country. This is all our problem, not just one side. Because that bullet that took the lives of some of these people in any of these mass tragedies that have happened over the past God knows how many years, decades now, they didn't care about whether you were black or white. They didn't care about whether you voted for Trump or not. They just cared about whether you were deleted or you're still breathing. That is it. We need to stop. We need to figure this out right now, because I'm tired of reporting this stuff. Okay. On a Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we know. Multiple people have been injured in this tragedy at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, or Grand Blanc, Michigan, according to police. The assailant is down, but a fire has broken out at the church, which was most likely started by this monster. According to local authorities, who urged residents to stay out of the area. Grand Blanc is a suburb of Flint, Michigan, and located about an hour's drive north of Detroit. All right. So we're going to go down a little bit, okay? And I apologize for getting preachy, but like I said, this is when it gets really, really reckless in these internet streets. This is where these things start percolating, and the divisiveness, the vitriol. This is where it all starts percolating on the internet, when people start throwing out false information or information that they do not know yet about. This is where we get reckless. This is where everybody gets angry, and then they start pointing fingers, and then it turns into something else that it doesn't need to be. Right now, we need to figure out what the hell's going on here. And then, you know what? The administration needs to do something about this as well. Our elected officials, local elected officials as well, need to do something about this as well. They really do. This is getting ridiculous. So multiple people hurt, multiple people have been injured in this tragedy at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan, according to police. The monster is down. The church is currently on fire. Police are urging people to avoid the area as emergency response efforts continue. Now, actually, before we continue on, because again, they are allegedly supposed to be having some sort of press conference here very, very soon. So I want to pull that up too, so that we can have that again. Hold on, guys. They're supposed to have a press conference, but if what Malia, who, you know, she's a very reliable source, if what she is saying is true about this possible boom boom device that was found, they might be pushing that press conference for a little bit, because if they found a boom boom device in that area, that is a recipe for some disaster. Real talk, okay? But I just want to show you a little bit of this footage on the side, okay? As I read a little bit more of this info, okay? But this is all bad, guys. Look at that. This is really happening at a church. Remember, just a few weeks ago, man, it was last week, okay? It was last week. No, sorry, not last week. I meant last month. It was as soon as last month. Remember that assailant that walked into the church filled with kids, or not really walked into the church, but he was on the side of the church. He barricaded the front door. It was a school mass for the elementary school. He opened fire through the stained glass windows, taking the lives of kids. Remember that monster? Remember that situation? That happened at the church as well. What were they doing? What were those kids doing? What were those innocent kids doing? This has got to stop, y'all. This has got to stop. It's getting me. I'm so angry. I am so angry. I am so sick and tired of this. Last night, I wake up to the news about this. I'm like, are you actually kidding me? But no. This was true story, really happening last night with what happened in Southport, North Carolina. Now we're dealing with another thing again, and these are families. These are people just living their lives and just doing what they worshiping and doing innocent things, getting their week off started with praise and getting things on a spiritual level. You know, if you really think about it, some people are walking into that church for the very first time that may not walk out ever again. Somebody who actually wanted to give faith a chance. Think about that for a second. And then the people that have been there every single Sunday, praising. I don't care what who you pray to. You know what I mean? I don't care if if you're agnostic or atheist. I don't care. Okay, but everyone has the right to praise or put in their love and support into things. This is not how you're supposed to start your day or your week ever. Let's take a listen.
Make sure that everybody's ready. So, everybody ready?
Come on, this is very quiet.
Hi, I'm Grand Blanc Township Police Chief William Rennie. That's Renye. Here to give you some preliminary details on an incident that happened earlier today at 10:25 a.m. within Grand Blanc Township. First off, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident, which is completely unnecessary and avoidable. The incident that we're going to talk about here today, as I said, was happened at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located at 4285 McCandless Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church.
Whoa!
He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grand Blanc Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect. And that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grand Blanc Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We had the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area because, as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information.
Oh my God.
That we have to obtain. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded, the City of Grand Blanc, Genesee County, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Flint Township Police Department, the DNR, the State Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you at 5 p.m., but I am willing to take any questions that you have that I could possibly answer right now.
Chief, can you talk about the progress of events? Did the suspect set the fire, they get back inside of his vehicle and then ran the front door, or did it all happen at the same time?
So from what I understand, and again, this is just a preliminary investigation right now, from what I have been briefed on, is that he rammed the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots. We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from and how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set, though, by the suspect.
Were they in an active service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible other people helped setting the fire? What have you?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this.
What's his name?
Sir.
Could you comment at all on the severity of the injuries at this time?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
So a couple, maybe three or two, I'm sorry.
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition. we do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
Yeah. In other words, some people lost their lives in the fire.
An assault rifle.
So, as far as ammunition, did he have live ammunition?
That I don't know of yet, and I could get you later. Hey.
Was the suspect known to authorities, and did he have any connection to anyone who was in that church?
Right now, we don't have any of that information, but I'm confident that our investigators, along with the FBI, we're going to end up uncovering all that information and provide that at a later time for you.
Chief, to clarify, you said there may be additional victims like inside the church? Or?
Yes, where the fire was. So, and the reason why we can't confirm that just yet is because it was a large fire, and we do believe that there was people up there that were near that fire and they were unable to get out of the church. So
Jesus.
We do believe that we will find additional victims once we're able to search that, once there's no signs of a fire reigniting.
So do you believe that the victims that are still there, they succumbed to fire injuries or gunshots, or you're not sure?
That I'm not sure, but I could provide all that information hopefully at 5 p.m.
The shots were fired.
Shots were fired, yes.
And he had no idea how many though at this point.
No idea how many at this time.
Can you
Sure.
describe it? The church was like a worship area and then like a gathering space or something like that? I mean, can you...
That I have not been in, so I can't tell you the layout.
What's his name, though?
Kind of describe the process of how things change for tactical response when there's an active fire. Every training I've seen, it's always been a building that has not been on fire. So how do you then deal with an active shooter when you have that situation happening as well?
Well, we are here at Grand Blanc Township, and there's a lot of agencies within the state of Michigan. We are specifically trained to go right to the threat in an active shooter situation. And I'm proud of my guys and the DNR who responded to this scene, who immediately took that suspect out. So there was no additional victims. So it was a great job by our staff. Okay.
So it was a law enforcement officer that neutralized the suspect?
Yes, there was 2 law enforcement officers involved. I will be back here at 5 p.m. to give you additional information and hopefully answer some of the questions that you guys went over here today. So, okay. Supervisor Bennett.
I could just go sit in here. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much. Sorry.
Well, Scott Bennett, Grand Blanc Township Supervisor. Scott, S-C-O-T-T, Bennett, B-E-N-N-E-T-T. First, let me say we are heartbroken. This kind of violence doesn't happen in our community, and we are heartbroken that it came to Grand Blanc Township. And we're going to do everything we can to support the families, the victims, and our community getting through this situation. And it's something that no community ever wants to have. And we're going to do our best to do everything we can. We appreciate the outpouring of support from our elected leaders from both national and state in offering their assistance. And we probably will take them up on their offers. So we appreciate that very much. And we appreciate the community reaching out to us also. So the details are yet to come, as Chief Rennie has said, and we'll wait for a little bit later today when we have the rest of the situation assessed. But it may take a little while to do that. But thank you for all the support, and I'm sure that the families and the victims are going to need that. It's a tragedy that nobody wants to encounter. Thank you.
Chief, before you step out, can you go over the process for family members, where you want them to go, who they should call to get more information and reunification?
Yeah, so those family members, they are in a secure area right now. They have been taken over to Trillium. So that's where the FBI will interview them and then release them from there. So
I mean, in terms of anybody who might be at home who was not there, who wants to check in to see if their loved one is okay, is there a number or a place that you want them to go?
yes, you could call the Grand Blanc Township Police Department, 810-424-2611. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
I guess that's
All
it.
right, so a lot of information there from the
Okay.
police chief, William.
Yes, so they just
Renwick, I
wrapped
believe
up
his name is, but what we know so far,
press conference.
one victim, 10 victims, one dead. The suspected shooter also dead, a 40-year-old man from Burton. There may be other victims as the shooter around 10:25 apparently drove
So here is some
into.
here are some updates I want to give you guys, because of course this is all information that's that just came out of this press conference. And like I said, if we can refrain from just pointing fingers at specific parties or specific sides of the political spectrum for now, I think that's the most respectful and tidiest thing you can do, instead of being messy and just saying things that aren't true or that we have no proof of as of yet, right? So let's refrain from that for now. When we get more information, then we could talk about that later, right? Then we can go in. But I think it's best that we refrain from information or refrain from our own political bias and just wait for the information to come out. So let's just say this, all right? We got some information, yes, because I was mad, okay? Because I'm coming in with this not so great news, and then of course everyone's so quick to be like, oh, it's such and such, it's this side, this other side, it's this side. Stop. Right now, we need to be thinking and sending our as much healing vibrations to all the people that have been deeply affected by this situation. And I don't care about their political affiliation. I care about them living. I care about them being able to survive through this situation. There's a lot of people that have lost some loved ones here. And there's a lot of people that are seriously injured that are going to be carrying this trauma with them for the rest of their lives. And what's so sad about this is no one should have to experience something like this, period. Okay? Yeah, I heard about a third one in a casino. Yeah, closer to you. Like there was a third. So there was 3 in the last 24 hours. One at Southport, North Carolina. Then there was another one last night at a casino. And then now you have one at a mother-loving church now. Okay? So 3 different tragedies, mass tragedies in less than 24 hours. Do you understand that things are at an all-time high? Like at this point, you can't even go to church anymore, y'all. You got to do everything remote now. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. 3 different pew-pew situations in the span of less than 24 hours. All of this happened overnight, guys. I'm not kidding. Overnight, and then early this morning, and then now this. You can't even go to church, y'all. This is bad. This is really bad. But let me give you guys some of the hits, some of the bullet points that they gave us throughout this, from this press conference. Okay, so just give me a second because I'm reading this down from these notes. Okay, so they say this is a 40-year-old male. 40-year-old male. What I'd like to know is what's his name, though, because for a fact once they get his name out there, everybody and their mom is going to be breaking everything down, and we're going to know his full history. We're going to know exactly who he voted for as well. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to know everything very, very quickly. All right. And then, that'll satiate some of y'all's bias appetites out here when his name gets out. Okay. But nonetheless, a 40-year-old male. They didn't say race. They didn't say anything else. They just said 40-year-old male plowed through the front doors of this church. And then they opened fire. They say 11 people were hit. One of them lost their life. The other 10 are severely injured. And of course, I'm assuming by now they're off to the hospital to, of course, get medical attention. All right. The assailant is gone. That assailant has been neutralized. Okay. The assailant has been neutralized by police. So apparently when police showed up, there was a firefight. Okay. Between the assailant and police. Police neutralized this monster, this 40-year-old monster. Then they say that, of course, we heard about the church. The church was up in flames. We're going to be seeing some footage with the church up in flames here in just a little bit. But what we understand right now, or what they're assuming, because they don't have any proof of this as of yet, but they said that they believe that this monster started the fire inside the church while he was opening fire on patrons, worshipers inside of the church. Okay? So there's that. Now, they also said, that's the thing, they don't know if he started it deliberately or if maybe the fire started from the car. Maybe the car, busted through, and from the crash, it ignited something inside the car. I mean, anything's possible, right? Sometimes, some of these churches have like a candle that's just standing there, right? And there's a flame, a continuous flame that's just, that's on fire, right? Maybe the candles knocked over and hit something that was flammable and started the fire while people were panicked running out of the actual church. That maybe during this mass exodus, somebody accidentally knocked over some candles or something. That's possible, right? But I've never seen the inside of a Mormon church. Okay, I've seen all kinds of different denominations, but I've never seen the inside of an actual Mormon church. So I don't know if they actually have like continuous flames and candles and all that, like a traditional Catholic church. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I think that this was deliberate. Now, again, Malia said something about there being a device, if you get what I'm saying, found at in a car in the area, or like in the parking lot of this church. They didn't mention anything about that in they didn't mention anything about that in the press conference. I don't know if they said that to, they didn't say that because they didn't want to freak anybody out, or it could have been a false alarm. It could have been that too. Okay. Let me get some not so much camera chaos going on the side. Okay. Don't worry. We're going to be looking at a bunch of things here, guys, in just a moment. Okay. They also said, which is also very tragic, is that they say that there may be multiple other people that are gone. Okay. They believe that there could be other victims inside the church as well from the fire. They don't know if it's either from the fire itself or if it's the GSWs that they may have suffered and maybe they weren't able to get out because of the fire that was started. So again, this is all that we know so far. Of course, we're going to be breaking down. I'm going to be breaking these things down again. Don't worry. I'll repeat these things again here in just a minute for everybody who is still, just getting here and getting to this story in this case. But again, my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that's out there. This is absolutely crazy. It just never stops. And this is a problem this is a problem that America has. This disease has now spread. And no, I'm not trying to have bars. I'm saying this is a disease. It's a cancerous disease that is spread. And now it's getting aggressive. This cancer, we knew we had this cancer, but we didn't do anything about treatments. We just let it sit and fester. And us as a country, we need to do something about this. We need to stop this cancer as soon as possible because now it's getting to the point where we're at stage 4. Actually, we are at stage 4. And I'm worried that we might lose our country because of stuff like this. And no, I'm not trying to fearmonger. This is facts. Let me repeat this again, and thank you to the person that mentioned this fact. This is just facts, not feelings. Just facts. We had 3 mass tragedies in less than 24 hours. One in Southport, North Carolina. Another one at a casino. I don't remember exactly where it was, but at a casino. Well, I'll look it up when I get some time. And then now we have one at a church. All innocent lives either deeply traumatized or lost. Multiple people now have been traumatized or lost because these assailants decided to open fire, taking their weapons, going into these facilities, or off on the shore, for crying out loud, and opening fire on innocent lives. This is a cancer that has definitely metastasized to a point where I don't know if we can actually cure it now. But here's the problem. Just like some of us stubborn individuals out here, we've been known about this disease. And what's so sad about this disease is that it's extremely contagious. But it only gets certain people. But then it continues to spread and get stronger and stronger. And it continues rapidly spreading to the point where no one will be able to go out anywhere anymore. We will basically be in lockdown all over again. But here's the thing, though. I do still have hope. I do. I truly think that if we find a way to figure this out now, that maybe we can knock this down. Maybe we can stop this from spreading even more. But when you have people every day wondering if they're going to come back home alive from going to an event, it is absolutely insane to me. Wondering if you're going back home alive because you walked into a mother-loving church. I'm just speaking facts, y'all. We ain't even talking about feelings. This is just facts. That you have to sit there and I don't know, kiss your family when you get back home from going to the grocery store. As small as that. These are the things that people need to be starting to have running through their brains now, which is sad because we shouldn't have those things in our brains at all. We shouldn't be thinking about that at all. Now, should we? No, we shouldn't. But unfortunately, this cancer, this disease that keeps on spreading was something that we should have been handled a long time ago. But because we stubborn, because of the people that control this country, the people that are elected into our cities, states, and the country are too lazy to sit back. They just sit back and they continue to let this thing continue to spread. And now it's at a point where you also see other people of the likes that are close friends of people dying because they're on a microphone. This is a cancer, and it needs to be treated as soon as possible. And you know what's so jacked up about this is I see about 4,000 people watching the show collectively right now. And I appreciate all y'all for being here. But I want to point something out to you guys here really quick. At least one of y'all has either been a victim or knows of somebody that has survived or has been lost due to some sort of weapon problem, some sort of mass tragedy. At least one of y'all. Do you realize how crazy that is? At least one of y'all has a kid or a friend or yourself that has suffered, survived, saw your friend pass away right in front of you. At least one of y'all. Shouldn't even be happening like that. And if it continues to grow like this, just like what Trump was talking about the autism thing, he's like, a couple of years ago, it was only 1 in 3,000 or something like that. And he's like, and now it's 1 in 31 kids are diagnosed with autism. This is insane. Don't touch Tylenol, right? We're going to get at that place too, that at least 1 in 31 of us is going to be either one that has been a victim or has been a subject to, or has a friend that has survived or been lost due to this gun control problem. It's a cancer, y'all. And now, are we at the point of no return? Something to think about, guys. Like I said, can't even go to a church anymore. Can't even go to a church anymore. Remember just the other day about the wedding reception? That piece of trash walking into a wedding reception, spouting out God knows what, and then just pulling trigger on people. A wedding. Can't even go to a wedding anymore. It's a cancer. And we need to get rid of this cancer as soon as possible. But it's more than just you and me. It's the people that we elected into those specific offices in our local communities, our cities, our states, and our country. They all have to have something to do with this, and they need to do something right now before it gets worse. And God, I hope I'm not the only one who feels this. If y'all feeling me, come on. If y'all are feeling me, put a number 1 in the chat. Like right now, just put a number 1 in the chat. If you feel me, put a number 1 in the chat. Here it is, though. Somebody said, "What do you have? Are you saying you have a solution?" Hell no, I ain't got no solution. All I know is that something needs to be stopped, and I know that there's not a definitive answer to anything. Okay, I know that there's not a be-all, end-all answer to anything. I get it. Okay, I get it. I'm not a pro. I'm not a politician. I don't know all the ins and outs about these things. I'm just a regular civilian, just like you, that is concerned about what's going on in this country. Okay? I got a family. I got people I care for. I got people that I wake up and fight for every single day, just like you guys. All of us are trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Real talk. We are all trying to make money. We are all trying to survive out here. We are all in this crazy rat race. Are we not? I could speak factually about how this needs to stop. Do I have the solution? No. I really do wish I did. But I know for a fact that no matter what that solution is, it's going to upset one side of the party or one corner of the world or one corner of this country. It's not going to please everybody. But there definitely needs to be something done as soon as possible. And no, I'm not sitting here saying we need to take away the Second Amendment. No, I get it. Your gun, your rights. I'm not sitting here saying anything about that. But there needs to be more control over these things. Some of these guys are getting access to these weapons, and they're absolutely knucking futs. They lost their doggone marbles. Okay? There's got to be some way to slow these things down. I know you can't squeeze it off like shutting off a faucet. I know it can't be like that, but you can at least squeeze it off, slow it down considerably. There's got to be something here, guys. There's got to be something, because this is insane. Every day. Now it's every hour, it seems like. That's crazy. And there needs to be a solution. Period. All right. I'm sorry. I'll get off my soapbox. Okay. I know we all have thoughts. We all have things to say about this situation. Of course, this is still developing. Let's get into some more of this news. All right. But again, something's got to give. And this is definitely this is from now on, it's cancer. Our country has cancer. That's it. And we're just not doing anything about it. And we need to do something about it. We really do. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have the solution, but I know that there's a problem. So now we got to figure out as a country what the solution is. And that's the thing. We have to figure that out as a country. It can't just be the Republicans saying, okay, we're going to do this, this, and this. And the Democrats just sitting there going, all right. It has to be something that they both agree on. These are the moments that both sides of the aisle need to reach across the aisle and join in unison, because this is an American problem. This is an America problem. Okay. This is more than just who you voted for, whether you're wearing a MAGA hat or not. This has everything to do with our entire country and the safety of our children. All right, I'm done. I just get so concerned over these stories, and they just never stop. They just never stop, y'all. Let's take a look. Bobby, thank you so much for feeling my pain. But it is facts, not feelings. Sure, feelings were earlier because I'm angry about this, and I'm angry because I'm tired, and you guys are tired too. So something's got to give. So, heavy police presence. We got some updates I'm going to go through here really quick. Okay, guys? Heavy police presence in smoke billow near Michigan LDS Church. That's the Latter-day Saints Church. Okay. Authorities have responded to the scene. A nearby residents captured video of streets lined with emergency vehicles as smoke billowed in the background. Let's take a look at this. And I got some other video here in a second that's absolutely crazy too, that we're going to check out. I mean, this is pretty crazy. Okay. This is pretty crazy. And, you know, and I know that some corner of the world is going to be like, oh, you know, this is an attack on like they're gonna say like this is an attack on God or, you know, religion or Christianity and stuff like that. But here's the thing: there were other people that lost their lives yesterday or earlier today and late last night as well. They didn't happen at a church, right? So I'm hoping that this is not something that gets picked up and turned into some sort of political vehicle. You see what I'm saying? Because there's other guys who lost their lives yesterday at a casino and at a in Southport, North Carolina, on the shore, for crying out loud, right? Like I said, hopefully it's not, spun, right? So we'll see what happens, but let's continue on. We got a bunch of things we're going to be looking at. Okay, so be sure to stick around. We're breaking this whole thing down. Okay, so at least one person has lost their life. 9 have been injured. Okay, so my bad. I said 11 people were injured, and then one of those 11 lost their lives. So in other words, 10 were injured, and one person lost their life. Okay, the police chief has said. So at least one person is confirmed gone following the tragedy at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. This is what the chief said at the news conference, which we already talked about. A total of 10 GSW victims, okay, including some who are in critical condition, have been transported to local hospitals. Authorities believe additional victims will be found at the scene at the scene that has been secured. Now, here's the thing. I want to point this out too, okay? They're saying, and I want to remind you guys, that because there was a big, massive fire that you just saw, a little bit of that. We're going to be looking at more of the fire here in just a minute. But they're saying, actually, I'm going to pull that up now. You can see it right here that look how massive that fire is. Look at that. And by the way, that's a big church. That's a very, very big church. But take a look at that really quick. Okay. Carolera. Thank you. So again, dispatch stated there was a beeping sound coming from suspect's truck, which is crazy. Now, it could be a beeping sound like they thought maybe it was a boom boom, maybe it was a false alarm, right? But if that is true, and dispatch was saying that, and Malia heard that too, basically saying, hey, I heard on dispatch that they said that there is a possible device, if you get what I'm saying, in a vehicle. They didn't mention that in the press conference, so it may have been a false alarm, but anything's possible. I mean, if this guy walked in, opened fire, lit the place on fire as well, started this massive fire, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually had a device that went beep, beep. Or, it could have been like the door was ajar and the car was beeping, you know what I'm saying? Because the door was ajar. I don't know. But nonetheless, this is some crazy stuff. Just take a good look at this fire. I'll play the video. But you can see for yourself, it is a massive fire. The roof has collapsed. Major structural damage has been made to that church. 40-year-old man drove his car straight in through the front doors of this church. Opened fire. You can't see it. I know you're going to be able to go over to my YouTube channel. Okay. Go and check it out. Jelly Lover. Go over to my YouTube channel. You'll be able to see it all over there too. Okay. But this 40-year-old man took his car, drove this car into the front door of this church, opened fire. Whilst he was opening fire, he lit this place on fire. He set fire to the place. Or maybe he had a Molotov. I don't know. This is insane, y'all. This is absolutely insane. So I'm going to let that roll a couple times as we get into more information here, okay? Open fire, lit the place on fire. Then, of course, he took people's lives. After those people lost their lives, all right? After he hit some people with his weapon. Apparently, they're saying that some people may have lost their lives due to the fire. That some people got trapped in there and lost their lives in the fire. So the toll, for lack of a better term, may be more. They still need to dig through the entire building to see what's really going on here. But nonetheless, you have some monster who decided that today was the day that people were going to have trauma, mayhem, and loss of life. And like I said in the very beginning of the show, or, before we went into this press conference, and I know it sounded like gibberish because I realized that they were about to go live with their press conference. But the thing is that there were people there for the first time. You know how church is, If there are any first timers in the room, please raise your hand, and they'll raise their hand and be like, oh, thank you so much for being here. Congregation, please welcome these new, these new patrons that are a part of the service today. Please welcome them with open arms, that kind of thing. Like I said, there are people that walked in there for the very first time. Maybe they were walking in there for the very first time just to give God a chance, just to give faith a chance, you know? Real talk. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm being real. You know how it is. And those people may have been hit too, or may have been so terrified they may never go back to church ever again because of this. It's terrible. It's terrible. Okay. So again, oh my God, it just doesn't stop. We're going to look at more. We got more stuff. But like I said, guys, if you want to see what we're seeing, okay, on the screen, go over to my YouTube channel. One day you'll be able to see it all here too. I promise you. I'm still trying to figure that out. I just got my TikTok back like literally last week, right? So again, you know, we'll be more soon. We'll be doing stuff, and the same stuff you see on my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see here. But that's some baby steps, okay? All right. So again, we don't know why this person did what they did. Of course, I'm still waiting to see if there's any updates as far as like the name of the assailant or anything of that sort. I'm just I'm just refreshing here really quick just to see. Wait a second. I mean, it seems like, I don't know. Okay, so apparently there's a photo circulating, and let me just say this again. We're going to take this with a grain of salt, okay? Because you know how it is. People put out stuff for the sake of putting things out that aren't true, okay? To create a narrative before we even get everything, you know what I mean? Before we get all the information, people like to come out with some sort of narrative as quickly as possible, right? To go with one side or the other. And people are already doing that. People are already trying to divide the situation. They're already saying, oh, this guy, he ain't conservative. This is a muse. This is one big red herring. And then other people are like, no, this guy's, he's definitely a conservative. You know what I mean? So, but they're saying that this is the truck. I mean, it is on the side of the building. But it seems weird that it's on the side of the building. You feel me? I don't think that's real. That doesn't make any sense. You got a truck right there, and it's not even at the front door. They said that the guy blazed through, ran through the front door of the building with his car. So I feel like that information could just be out for the sake of putting those things out. Like I said, just to make it seem like it's something that it's not. But the where the car is, that's not the front door. You see what I'm saying? That's not the front door. So I don't think that's entirely true. But yes, there are reports of them saying an IED had been pulled from the truck near the church that was, of course, that was obviously shot up and set on fire. Okay, just so you know. And yes, he took the truck. Yes, secret on TikTok. He took the truck and he ran that car in through the front doors of the church and then opened fire. So again, the information that that some people are putting out here, I say, like I said, take that with a grain of salt, because again, it could just be one big fat ass fugazi, guys. Okay. Because people have a tendency to make things up for the sake of making things up. You see what I'm saying? To feed a narrative. But let us continue on. Hold on, guys. Let me hit refresh on here. See if there's anything more. Let's see here.
We are turning now to some more breaking news.
Let's check
on
out
this
Fox
Sunday.
News.
Take a look at this. Live images that we are just getting into our newsroom. And I do want to apologize. The signal is a little spotty at this time. But again, this is live and happening now. So, courtesy of our partners at Fox 2 in Detroit, they're reporting that multiple people were shot this morning at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a church there in Grand Blanc. That is according to police. And we're seeing here, of course, viewer discretion advised as always, but someone looks to be carried away from this church on a stretcher there. So we have photographers down there, courtesy of our partners at Fox 2 in Detroit. They're trying to get all of this footage coming in here. And again, we apologize, but this is live. It's active. We're watching it here at the same time as all of you are at home. But you can see it's a very active police presence there. The scene with multiple law enforcement vehicles and also what seems to be a lot of smoke coming out in the distance. And we're seeing a lot of firefighting vehicles as well as other first responders there. So again, we're working to get some more information. This is breaking, it's developing, and it's preliminary at this time. But Fox 2 saying that the shooting was reported just before 11 in the morning today at the church that's on McCandish Road. Police sources said that 6 to 8 people were struck. Their conditions currently unknown.
Now, I want to remind you that this video, this clip is an hour old. So obviously things are subject to change. You know, of course, we already heard that 10 have been hit. One of the 10 has also lost their life due to this whole situation. And of course, the assailant is gone. Yes, it is true that, they said right before 11 a.m. today, this particular person took their car, drove it straight through the front doors of this church, and then began opening fire on the patrons and the worshipers that were inside of that church. The other information that we know right now is that, of course, that assailant is 40 years old. He is male, and that's all they've given us. The other piece is that, of course, he was neutralized by police. They say that he started a fire. He could have possibly started a fire that caused this whole church to go up in flames. They also said that they do not know if there are any victims inside of that church. So there's still a possibility that some more victims can be found inside that church due to the fire or a combination of being hit by this assailant and being succumbed by fire. That is still a possibility as well. Okay. But again, this guy, the assailant, is gone. He was 40 years old. He drove this car to the front doors of this church. 9 people have been injured. 1 person has lost their life. There's reports, at least, of an IED or at least a beeping sound that they heard from inside the truck or the car that he was actually driving. But there is no confirmation of that as of yet that I've seen. But that is something that people are saying out here as well. But again, this guy was seriously up to no good. Why he did what he did, I have no clue. And I'm hoping that they find out, or if he left some sort of letter. You know how it is. They always leave some stupid letter. You know what I mean? They always leave some sort of letter behind. You know what I mean? And, send text messages to their lover, their furry lover. My love, I must retrieve thy grandpa's rifle, So the next presser, they say, will be around 5 this evening. Just so you guys know. I may not be able to be for that one, but I will try to cover it or give you guys at least some sort of video when they give us more information on that too. Again, this is just crazy. This is just crazy. And that's why I keep saying, like, before we automatically start pointing fingers at each other and saying it's because of you damn people, you over there on the right, No, you over there on the left. You know what I mean? Instead of doing all this pointing and, you know what I mean? Like, because we don't need another J6 situation, but actually like in America. You feel me? Not just in DC, but everywhere in America. We don't need that against each other. Right now, we need to look at these monsters and these assailants as exactly for who they are, which is assailants and monsters that have all just lost their doggone minds. We need to figure something out. The war is not against each other. The war is against stopping them from doing these things successfully. You see what I'm saying? It's all about mindset. It's all about how we see things. But we live in a wild time, guys. We're living in a wild time. Like, real talk, we you know, that rapture, it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Maybe because he went down. He's like, you know, God's like, I shall. Wait, hold on. Let me do it. Which one? I'll do this one.
Time to bring all the good people up to heaven. Time for the rapture. Now is the day. We will all be together, for I am God. And, wait. How about that? No. How about... No. I got some reality TV I need to catch up on. We'll come back to this later.
You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like that now. So, you know, when we all thought we were going to get sucked up into, like, you know, into rapture, into, you know, Jesus, you know what I mean? It didn't happen. Why? Yeah. He probably was like, oh, snap. This is all messed up. Oh, damn. This is worse than before. Damn, this is worse than the Old Testament times. Damn. You know what I mean? But, you know, we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know, that rapture did not happen for a very good reason. I think we got a lot of work to do. This country and this world has just spun right off the damn. It is spun right off. We have spun off this planet, and there's got to be something that we can do to start changing these things for the better. Again, instead of us going after each other, we need to start going after these monsters and these assailants for sure.
Video from the scene here showing smoke billowing as emergency vehicles line the streets, and sources say the suspected shooter may have set the church on fire, Grand Blanc confirmed that as of 11:35 a.m. local time, the church was on fire. People should avoid the area. And as you can see, the flames still very active. A lot of smoke there in the air as firefighters are trying to get a handle on that entire situation. And then on the other side of that, you know, we have first responders trying to get a handle on the fact that there was a shooting there with many people being struck at this time. Their conditions not known, but we're working to get some more of that information. Police did say, however, that the shooter is down. There is no current threat to the public at this time because of that shooter. Now, again, you are seeing on your screen that the church is set on fire. So we have emergency vehicles there trying to get a handle on this entire situation. The conditions of those victims are not known at this time, but these are the images that we're just getting into our newsroom. Right now, Eastern Standard Time, around 11:46 in the morning. And I do believe we're expecting a press conference of some sort at some point today. Not entirely sure.
And just so you know, the press conference already happened, just so you know, okay? But again, this is all very bad, okay? All very, very, very bad.
Sure on the exact timing of that, but investigators on the scene are going to be providing some more details on this very breaking and active situation happening over at Grand Blanc Township in Michigan. So I just want to rehash some more of the information that we have here as we continue to get it into our newsroom. And Curtis.
Okay. There's a couple more things. Let's take a look at this. Again, we already have What I already said that I was fearing was going to happen is already happening. Okay. Now it's turned into a thing. I'm just going to say it. I'm just going to read this out loud real quick. Oh, I want you guys to see this. Okay. But it's already turned into, come on, mouse. Okay. It's already turned into a thing. All right. Christianity is under all out assault in the United States. Like I said, what about what happened last night and early this morning? The casino and the off the shore where a guy just opened fire while on a boat, taking the lives of 3 people. What about the situation that happened at the casino? Just think about it. And it's already see what I'm saying? The narrative is already spun. I just said that. I was like, God forbid that they try to say that this is some sort of attack on Christianity, on God, on faith, right? And look at what we're looking at right now. It's already out there. Oh, it's an attack on Christianity. Well, what about all those other victims that lost their lives over the past 12, 15, 16 hours? What about all of them? I'm just saying. It's already happening. And don't get me wrong. Like I said, what happened to CK, all right, you know who I'm talking about, was tragic. Absolutely terrible. And of course, there was a spin there too. An attack on Christianity, a man of faith, all that stuff. There was the spin. Now that it's a church, a Mormon church, we already have the spin. But hey, let's not forget but they suddenly forgotten about all the other people that lost their lives earlier today too. And I'm sure not all of them were Christian. The victims. I'm sure not all of them were Christian. Some people were just gambling or doing whatever they wanted, doing what they were doing. Some people were working. And those people lost their lives too. Those people's lives matter too. Right? But like I said, the spin has begun. But let's take a look at this video.
Around the building with ARs and everyone, I came back. They were already here surrounding the building with ARs and everyone, I came back. They were already here surrounding the building with ARs and everyone, I came back.
Somebody's talking about how the place was surrounded by men with ARs, officers and all that. But I mean, like, take a look. The church is definitely on fire. This is insane. Okay. This is insane. Sorry, something's in my eye, but this is insane. Okay. And extremely sad because this should not be happening to a place of worship, to people who are just doing their thing, worshiping, right? This shouldn't happen this way. It shouldn't. This is what the church originally looked like before it got set on fire. And we already saw this video. But as you can see, I mean, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Okay. Let me get some of these super chats here too. Let me pull something up here because I know you guys all have something to say, understandably.
Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Blanc
Hold on.
earlier this morning. We know it was around 10.
Yeah, their cameraman, just wilding out.
The video there.
Hold on.
Massive fire.
Okay. Yeah, the cameraman is the camera's just whipping all over the place. And I get it. They're trying to get the shots and do whatever they need to do. But damn, it's they keep going to a live feed of him shooting people's feet. You know what I mean? But moving on, let me get some of these super chats here really quick because there's a lot of y'all. And I really do appreciate your opinions and your thoughts about all this. And again, like I said, my thoughts and prayers go out to every single last person that is affected by this situation. It is scary, scary stuff indeed. And obviously this is still developing. This is still ongoing. We don't know if there are any victims inside of that church. that have lost their lives from the fire. Everything is still up to date, or still up to, not everything's up to date. We're going to find out more information here very, very shortly. Okay. Or hopefully very, very shortly. Janobi, thank you so much. Mass Pew Pew. Yep. In casino in Texas. Yes. So it was in Texas. Thank you. Last night. Yeah. So there was 3 mass tragedies all in succession. One in North Carolina, another one in Texas, and then now we have one in Michigan. Okay. Absolutely crazy. Obviously, this one this one's obviously a much bigger mass tragedy. Okay. Yeah, it is a bigger mass tragedy because it's more people that have been injured, right? There's only one that lost their lives so far as the victims, but this is just some crazy stuff. And in fact, I'm going to pause that right there because obviously that is somebody telling a witness to the whole situation. So we're going to be looking at this for us in a second. But Janobi, thank you so much for that super chat and your thoughts there too. Steve Baker, thank you so much. They're pushing people back, possible IDE or I think IED in truck. Yep, that's what they're saying too. And it may not have been a real thing. I think that's what it is. I think there was concern. Obviously, they did everything as far as safety precautions, and maybe they found out that there is no boom boom device in the car. It could have been there as like it could have been a dud specifically to be a dud. You see what I'm saying? Just to mess with police. I don't know. You know what I mean? Anything's possible. Ali, thank you so much. Church is supposed to be a safe space or a safe place. I agree 110%. It's supposed to be a place of worship. You know what I mean? It's a place that you're supposed to be putting your differences aside, etc., to go and worship. And unfortunately, you got people that are not coming back from this. And now you got a whole church, not only just a congregation, but you have a whole church that has been destroyed. You also got to remember, too, there are people that have jobs there. Those jobs are destroyed, too. It's crazy. Beautiful messy ball. Thank you so much. Coldest we know nada about perp. Coldest we know nada about perp. Take deep breath. Coldest we know about. I don't know what that means. But yes, we don't know anything about him except that he's 40 and he's male. Okay. That's all we know. Britt, thank you so much. No freedom of speech or religion or press, but more pew-pews than people. Sad. Ain't that interesting? Ain't that interesting? Right? Steve Baker, Hazmat has been notified praying for the family. Oh, hazmat suits. Okay. Also praying for my brothers and sisters in fire department. He crashed his truck into the church. Yes, we heard about that, and then of course I overheard some things on dispatch, like I guess a firefighter may have gone down as well. So there may have been injuries due to fighting the fire and all that. I mean, you got to remember these firefighters are literally putting their a lot of time and risking their necks, right, to put out fires. So a casualty or injuries could definitely happen to the firefighters as well, to the first responders. So of course, shout out to the first responders for taking out that fire. I'm gonna be real. And of course, Tyler, thank you so much for being a member for the past 31 months. It's a long time, man. Thank you so much. I'm sick of the constant cycle of violence. I agree. So am I. I'm sick and tired of it too. And something needs to change. Something needs to give big time, because it just doesn't stop. It just doesn't stop. Okay? It just doesn't stop. Jasmine, thank you so much for being a member for almost a year. I appreciate it. Well-deserved congratulations on your Banfield appearance. So proud of you, cuz. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. And of course, yeah, you can go check out the conversations I've had with Ashley Banfield on News Nation. And I also put it on my YouTube channel too. So you'll be able to see that too if you want to find some time to check that out. Only M and Crystal Moore, thank you so much for becoming a member or becoming members. And just like Only M and Crystal, please consider becoming a member by hitting that join button down below. I promise, we don't start off the show as fiery as it was this morning, or the start of this show, but sometimes you just gotta say it with your chest. You know what I mean? Suzanne, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. I have no words left. Just want to support this channel. Thank you, Pascal. Thank you so much. I feel like I agree with you on that. I feel at this point we have said so much already. We've already said enough, right? We've already said so much over and over again about this. And I feel like most of us are in agreement that this type of ish just needs to go. It's for the birds. It's nothing. It needs to stop, right? It's really something when people are losing their lives in mass. And that is a problem. And we can sit here and talk about it till we're blue in the face. But the sad thing is it's almost like we're screaming at a wall. An inanimate object that's going to have no reaction whatsoever. You're just basically putting your hot breath onto a wall, right? And that's it. And that's what it kind of feels like. Saying the same thing over and over and over again. It gets old. Something needs to stop. Something needs to give as soon as possible. Just Rhonda, you have 2 super chats here. I do really appreciate it. So we're going to go through them. Even as an inactive member of the LDS Church, current resident of Orem, Utah, UVU grad, I am gutted, shattered. Yeah, this is crazy. Okay. Just Rhonda, thank you so much again. Knowing what I know about average church meetings, my heart is telling me there are children who are trapped in that burning building. Oh, dear God. I hope that's not the case, but that is an inevitable thing to think about. And again, you got to remember, it's families that are going to this church, that are going to service, right? They're going to worship. It's families. It's not just a bunch of adults. It's not like they're going to a club. It's families. It's kids. It's babies. It's everybody. So again, it's scary to think that. Scary to think. I just really hope that everyone got out of that fire or got out of that church before that fire took it all up. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that the police are wrong with their assumption that more could be there. You know what I mean? I'm hoping. I'm praying and hoping. Proven Samantha, thank you so much for the love. Advice on what we can do to stop these tragedies. It starts at home. It starts okay. That's a multi-layered statement, or it is a multi-layered statement. I'm going to say, first off, okay, here we go. First off, it starts at home. Whoops, I didn't mean to hit that. I meant to hit that. It starts at home. Let me try that again. First off, it starts at home. Home is where everything is being brewed, is being learned, is being unlearned, it's being consumed, it's being habitually ingrained into your family dynamics, into your family lifestyle. It all starts at home first. Let's just start there first. Before we even go and expand, let's start there first. It starts at home. And a lot of these, clearly this is a 40-year-old man. So this is a different situation, right? But it takes a village, right? It even takes a village to protect the village. So again, I always say this: if you see something, say something. And this also means when it comes to your family, because there are kids out here that are getting deeply disturbed by whatever they're consuming on the internet or whatever they're just consuming in their own minds. And then they're going and exacting these type of terroristic things. Obviously, this man is 40 years old, so this story is a little bit, his situation is a little bit different. But I truly believe that there may have been signs out there of this man not being well. Maybe he said some things online. And I know not everybody wants to get like in other people's business because that's just how people are. And I get that. But at the same time, sometimes these people are putting things out online that are just creepy, or it's a foreshadowing of what is to come. Now, when it comes to family stuff, it's our responsibility to raise our children to the better version of ourselves, right? To represent your family name and your family as best as possible, because they are going to be taking your legacy, your name on. And of course obviously you want to raise great looking, smart, beautiful, wonderful kids, super talented, get high marks and all that. But you also want the other part you have. And I know some of y'all think this, at least I do. It's like, please, I hope I don't raise a butthole. And I mean that in the most loving way possible. I'm not trying to say that to be funny. It's that concern of, I just hope I raise a good kid with a good head on their shoulders that knows right from wrong, that knows good versus evil, that is a good person, and that they continue on and raise their kids, and the legacy moves on, right? But there are some parents out there that aren't really doing all of that and just let the kid do whatever they want to do. Yeah, living, in these toxic environments. It starts at home. Because if we were raising our children as best as we can, and we were being doting enough and not being helicopter parents, but kind of being helicopter parents to the point where you know what they're doing, you know that they're staying good, then things like this wouldn't happen as well. It starts at home. It always starts at home. This is where the kids are, how the kids' minds are developing, etc. Because here's the thing: if we are all like, hey, like I said, if we are all helicopter, because we're all helicopter parents to a certain extent, to the best of our ability. It's like we're helicopter parents, but we're not. We're incognito helicopter parents. Yeah, that should be a damn t-shirt. Okay, helicopter parents that sit there and they are trying to do their best, the best that they can, to let the kid have freedom, but also keeping an eye on them at the same time. But you're trying to be stealthy about it. You feel me? You don't want them to know that you're helicoptering, okay? Because you don't want that, because then that's when, especially when they're going through puberty, oh dear God. Okay? God forbid. You don't want that happening, okay? That's not good. Helicoptering, and they're going through puberty, and they know you helicoptering, oh, it's not good. But you want to give off the illusion that you're not, but you are, because you care. You want to make sure your kid is good and is raised good, or raised, proper English, well, right? So those that are parents that are doing exactly what I'm saying right now would know if the kid has certain ideations, would know if they're going on certain websites, would know if they're doing certain things that they shouldn't be doing. Maybe they're playing ultra violent video games, and it's not just, that's just John. That's just John. He just likes playing these video games. No, it's like, wait a second. His room's gotten very dark. The energy has changed about him. His attitude is weird. He's always on his computer. What is he looking at? What is he going on? What chat rooms is he going on? What Reddit rooms is he posting? Blah, blah, blah. Right? Real talk. Think about all those things. It starts at home. Now, I don't mean to be preachy, but at the same time, if we are doing those things, and I know we can't catch it all, but sometimes we can catch those things before it gets bad. before that tragedy actually happens. So it starts at home. I can talk more about that because I already know that somebody's going to be like, you're wrong, Pascal, because of this, that, and the third. I understand. It's a lot more complicated arithmetic, okay? It's long division. I get it. And I'm just doing a very broad stroke about this because I don't want to spend 7 hours talking about one thing about it starts at home. But that is something that we need to realize, that it starts at mother-loving home for sure. Then it also, we expand even more. Like I said, it's like an onion. It expands out. And we're going to make a big leap right now. So it goes from home to the people that are taking care of the things that are going on in your neighborhood that your home is in, like the elected officials, the ones that are in your city, your county, your city, your state, those individuals, those people. We need to start bringing in those people that are going to say, hey, we're going to try to push for certain things, certain bills, etc., to stop from these things from actually happening. Now, I know that is a stretch because a lot of these politicians, okay, are out here and they out for the bucks, okay? They out for the money. And they sit there and they'll promise, they'll gesticulate all politically. They'll use the thumb thing and they'll gesticulate every word with that thumb thing that they do at the podium. And we all sit there and go, I like him. And then we vote for them. And then when they get into office, what do? Not a damn thing. Everything stays the same. So at the end of the day, it ends up coming onto us on how we handle these types of weapons and these types and ways to find ways to prevent from these tragedies from happening. So it still starts at home, which is really crappy because you'd think that there'd be more red tape, more hoops that people have to jump through to get their hands on these things. And that is from the lawmakers making those decisions, voting certain bills and certain things in to implement when it comes to any 17, 18-year-old kid getting their hands on a pew-pew, or any 40-year-old man that must be out his doggone mind. There should be hardships for him to get his hands on a weapon as powerful as these assault rifles. Then another big jump. It goes to all the way up to the top of the mountain. Administration, whoever's in office. I'm not just saying Trump. It's Biden, Obama, all of them, Clinton, all of them. It's all the administrations. Whoever's in office at that time, their responsibility is to listen to the people, listen to the country, and try to find a way to slow these things down. And they can't just do exactly like I said. They can't just gesticulate with their thumb thing that they do on the freaking podium while they're reading something that a speechwriter wrote for them. Like it's a damn script. They got to do something about it and not just give us empty promises. So yes, I know that was a long breakdown, but it's multi-layered. And like I said, I'm just doing abbreviated, very simplified math to something that is long division. It's freaking algebra, for crying out loud. Okay? It really is. And no, do I have the answers for everything? No, I don't. Shoot, I don't even think, my answer I'm sure it doesn't suffice half of the country. But at the same time, at least I'm thinking about it. I think that's more than I can say that for some of these lawmakers that we have elected in our own towns, counties, cities, states, and even in our country. And that, I think, is a big problem. Moving on, though. Kiki, thank you so much for the love. This world needs love. Exactly. So sad my husband's a pastor. He took, we had to lock the doors last Sunday after service started because we were warned about things. See, what the hell's that all about, Kiki? That's terrifying. What kind of a church? What denomination, Kiki? If you're still there, let me know. Say it in the chat. Is it a Mormon church? Is it a Christian church? Is it a Catholic church? You know what I mean? Let me know, because that's insane too. And then what kind of warnings were you getting? That's what I'm kind of curious about as well. Lady Locks, thank you so much for the love. Thanks for all your hard work, Pascal. Of course, it's my pleasure. There's actually a mass tragedy tracker website. What? I didn't realize till I went to look up the stories. There's a mass tragedy tracker website. That's insane. See, it's so bad. These tragedies happen so often that now there's a tracker website. What in the hell is going on? Moving on. Ash, what's up? Thank you so much for the love. Thank you, Pascal. My daughter and my nephew, 2 different states, have been present at mass tragedies. Like I said before, at least one of y'all knows somebody or was a victim of or something of that sort, right? We're at that place. Both survived. Thank God they survived. I'm so thankful for you, Ash. Also, my son's friend lost his mom in Vegas. Oh, Jesus. It makes me physically ill. Yeah, at this point, it'll always be somebody that we know. It'll be somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And I hate to say it like that, but it is. Or to be straight you straight to the source, you being the one that experienced that survived or got hit or got lucky and was not in the area, like ran away fast enough that, you know what I mean, by the skin of your teeth. This is the world that we live in. This is insane. Carolera, thank you so much for being a member for over 30 months. Thank you. They are moving people back away from truck as they hear a beeping sound coming from suspect's truck. Pascal, I agree with you, all that you mentioned. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I know. You know, sometimes you just gotta say it loud. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just gotta say it loud. It just is what it is. You do all the niceties. You try to be all nice and crap, and it just right over your head. But when you lift your voice, when you raise your voice, some people start to listen. Okay. Robin, thank you so much for being a member for the past 5 months. I appreciate it. So sad, Pascal. Many blessings to us all. Yes, I agree. This is crazy. Nostalgic. Thank you so much for the love. 3 within 24 hours is beyond too much, too damn far. Yeah. I mean, 1, just 1 in general, right, is too much, is beyond too much already. What happened last night shouldn't have happened anyway, but that's the moment where it's like, okay, we stop. But no, we're not. It's not like that anymore, which is it's a damn shame. April, thank you so much for the super sticker. Strega, thank you so much for becoming a member. And Lonnie, welcome to the family. Welcome to the fam. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Lonnie, again, thank you so much for the super chat. Praying for my brothers and sisters and the kids, Mormon strong. Yeah, this is insane. Yeah, thoughts and prayers for real. Nicola, thank you so much for being a member for the past month. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. K, I'll just say K. Mueller? K Mueller, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. All the way from Germany, it looks like. Hello, audience. A German visitor here. Years ago, I have seen a crazy and disturbing interview with Michelle Kerr with South Metro Rescue and Fire District Chief Jeff Tasker. He was at 3. Oh, he was at 3 school tragedies. I was floored. Please do something. I don't know about this thing, but I'll look this up. Sorry, guys. I'm just writing this down so I don't lose it. Okay. I'll take a look at that. For sure, Kay. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. Jessica, thank you for the great reporting and always being kind to everyone. Hey, I try my best. Thank you so much. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's a challenge. Okay. April, thank you so much for the love. Thank you, Pascal. As a member, I am shattered. Yes. Yeah, we are all shook and surprised about this. Hollis, thank you so much. Can you do a quick recap? Late as usual. I'll do the quick recap after I get through these super chats. I got you. Okay. To LA or to Lamort. Thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Catherine, divide and conquer, oldest play in the book, and it's working. Ain't it though? I believe we are being played. I feel that same way too, to a certain extent. Violet, thank you so much for love. We are LDS in Florida, and my children were up on the stand today singing for their primary program. My ward knows people who are injured. So upset. That's terrible. I'm so sorry to hear about that. Like I said, I'm praying for everybody. Nothing but healing energy coming from this neck of the woods. Real talk. Nostalgic, thank you so much for the love again. Bet the government is sipping margaritas, not caring. You know, I don't know if they'd be drinking margaritas so much, because that would be, that would mean, like, I feel like ICE would be coming in and taking them for some weird reason. Like, they're drinking margaritas. You know what I mean? I'm joking. But I think that they're going to give a damn about this one. I really think that they're going to give a damn about this one. Like we just read earlier, an attack on Christianity is at an all-time high now, right? Remember what happened to CK? Now we got this going on. What happened earlier today and late last night in those two separate areas, they won't get as much reaction from the government as much as they're going to react to this one. And it's going to be a thing where it's going to be used in some sort of divisive way. It just is what it is. We're already seeing it, guys. And I know some of you guys aren't going to agree with me on that, but we already see that. So I have a feeling that they are going to care about this one. I'm sorry to push back and not agree. But I do think that they're going to give a damn about this one. And they're going to run with this. But we'll see. It depends on how they do this. I really hope that they go with a unified front, with the unified front attitude. Because again, a country divided is not a country. It's not. And how can you run and lead a divided country? You can't. So I'm hoping that won't be the case here. I really do. Only M, thank you so much for gifting one membership. I appreciate it. And guys, show Only M some love by putting some purple heart emojis in the chat, and welcome to the family. Anybody, the person who just became a member, appreciate you being here and being a part of the conversation. Thank you so much for gifting that membership. And all I ask you guys to do, or that one member, that new gifted member, she just gave you some positive love, which we need more than anything in the world. So please pay it forward, okay? Open the door for somebody. I don't know, buy somebody a milkshake. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just do something kind and nice to somebody. I think that would be great. Pay it forward, okay? Just like she just gave you some love, give that love to somebody else, and hopefully maybe it'll stop somebody from doing something like this. You never know. You never know. Catherine, thank you so much for the love. And look what is being taught in our schools. We need to have a community homeschooling group or something. Yeah, we're living in some wild times, guys. Like, I mean, regardless of what they're teaching in schools or not, I'm more concerned about just kids being able to go into school and walk back out alive. Now it's survival tactics. And they always have to be worried about their own safety walking into these doggone schools. Instead of them being worried about if they're going to ace that math exam, they're more concerned about, if they're going to come back home alive and not in a box. That's insane to me. That's insane to me. Genobi, Pew Pew Man, is a veteran and ex-church member tossed from the church. Where did you get that information, Genobi? I'm going to look up some stuff here in a second, okay? But Genobi might have something that I don't have yet, okay? I was going through all these super chats, and there was a lot, and I appreciate all y'all so much for the super chats, real talk. I'm not saying you guys are wasting my time. I'm just saying, you know, while going through the laundry list of super chats, I did want to give, you know, I'm sure there's some more developing news here that I'm going to look at. But that's interesting, though. If he's a veteran and he's an ex-church member, just saying, that might mean something that is not what people are saying out here in these streets. If that's the case, but like I said, we don't know everything yet. We'll see. Kay, thank you so much from Germany. I appreciate you. And here's the video. I tried Fire Academy on our YouTube channel, and then let it roll. I'm gonna have to look at that. I don't know what that story in that case is all about. But I will write that down real quick and look at that here in a second. But let me show you guys this interview. It looks like a bystander. It looks like he has a little bit of blood on him too. But I definitely want to hear what he has to say. And then I'll do Hollis asked for a recap. I'm going to give you a recap here in just a minute. And I want to see what the updates are here too. So just give me 2 seconds. Hold on. Marcus Hale is his name. Wow, Genobi. Okay. Look, give me a second. I'm going to play this and I'm going to look this up so I can get that information for you guys. Okay. We may have some breaking news here, guys. Apparently, allegedly, what I'm hearing from Genobi. Okay. And if this is 110% true, they are saying that this 40-year-old man was a veteran and was basically excommunicato, I guess, banished from this church. He was an ex-church member, which is insane. So if that's the case, that's wild. And that's very telling. So hold on 1 second, guys.
To a gentleman who was inside the church when all this happened and was trying to flee
Let me look this up.
away from the gunfire.
Come on with the sound. Come on.
So not live, so they'll cut it around. So first, if you could.
He is live.
Comfortable sharing your first and last name for me?
Brian Taylor.
Common spelling for both. BRIANTAYLOR.
Yeah.
And you were shot today.
Shot at.
Shot
Luckily, yeah, the windshield. This is just shrapnel from the windshield that was as he shot at our car as we were trying to drive away.
And that's your car, the purple one?
Yeah,
I think
the maroon Flex. Yeah.
I got a picture of it or a little video of it. Tell me what was going through your head as that kind of was transpiring.
Honestly, get my wife away and find my son.
So your son wasn't with you. Do you know where he was?
Sorry, that makes me want to.
Yeah, we got some more updates,
he was
guys.
in another vehicle. We were on the phone with him. He was ducked down in another vehicle trying to just lay low.
And you ended up getting in contact with him, and he was okay.
And there was the
Okay.
gentleman, as you just heard,
That
who
was interesting.
trying to drive away from the gunfire.
Hold on 1 second, guys.
After just the horrific events played out at the Church of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this is some crazy stuff. Obviously, there's more. It looks like some more witnesses are talking about this. Hold on, let me play this. Like I said, I'm trying to get as much information because somebody said in a super chat here too. Thank you, Rock On. I appreciate you. Rock On. New York Times is reporting someone who was in the church, heard an explosion, went outside to help, then saw a man 10 yards away getting out of his truck, and then he started pulling the trigger. So that's something interesting as well. Now, the explosion could have been from him trying to get driving his car through the front door. That could be it too. Or maybe he set something off. You never know. We're going to get into that here in just a minute. Genobi, again, thank you so much. Country needs to chat about veterans and lack of mental health care. We wait months to get help. I waited a year. Well, thank you so much for your service, first and foremost. And second, yes, I agree. Mental health care in general not only just with veterans, but yes, with veterans too. Veterans and just people who just need the right help, the right kind of care. Absolutely, you're right. There's a very, very slow need or slow reaction. How's that? Because there's such a stigma attached to someone who just needs to talk to somebody because they're dealing with bouts of depression, right? But it's like that too. Let me say this too, because it's almost like we live in this time where even mental health, even depression is like a cancer. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Hold on, time out. I mean in the fact that if it's not treated, it can spread. It can get darker. It can get worse. It can get really, really bad to the point where it consumes your every day. It consumes you to the point where it pushes you towards places that you never thought you'd ever go. Dark thoughts, dark, terrible things. And unfortunately, we live in a world where there's such a stigma attached to mental health that there's such a slow comeuppance. There's such a slow reaction to care for people and their mental health. And it's not just depression, right? There's obviously there's so many levels of mental health care, right? There's so many other situations that people are battling with schizophrenia, etc., bipolar disorder, all that stuff, right? But if they're sitting there and they're not being helped, it only gets worse. And then they're finding some sort of vice. They find that vice towards, it could be substances, it could be the internet, it could be the dark web, it could be really, really bad, right? And unfortunately, we're having more and more people do these terrible things because part of it is mental health for sure. You have to have something going on deeply for you to go into a church and do this. You can't just be like, oh, everything's coming up roses and everything's great. Hell to the no. There's definitely something going on mentally in each and every single person that has done these things. You got to be in some serious dark places, okay, to go do what all of these mass assailants have done. This is not just sane, evil-minded individuals doing this. And these are situations that could have been helped if there was something that they could have gone to or someone they could have gone to and talked to about these situations. So again, Janobi, thank you so much for that information. Let me get some more information. I think this is another bystander, another eyewitness. Let's take a listen to this. And again, like I said, control, the pew control, all those things. Like I said, there's no perfect answer to the whole thing, but there is no work being done to help this situation from slowing down. That's the problem, guys. That is the massive problem. And it's insane to me. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. I just care so, I know I sound corny. I know I'm going to sound corny when I say this, but I care so much about y'all. I care so much about us. And it goes beyond just America. I care about us. I want us to be okay. But if we're not doing anything about it, I don't know, man. I don't know. I can only pray so much. I can only preach so much, right? I can only go on here live and talk to you guys about it so much. Something's got to change, y'all.
Hey, yes, we are still here at this scene. I'm joined by Nancy Ott, who is a resident here who she needs to get back home. Talk to me a little bit about this morning as this was going down. What did you see? What did you hear?
I didn't see or hear anything. I was at church myself, but
Not this church.
Right, my Holy Family Church. And my husband sent me a text, and he was all upset. He said he heard some shotgun or gunshots and a loud boom. And he's almost 81, and he was really shook up. And in the meantime, our pastor came right back into the church at the end, and he said, if you live near McCandless and Holly Road, you can't get in there right now. There's been a shooting or something. Apparently, the police came to our church and let him know something. And so I went to my brother's, who only lives 4 miles away, and I've been there until now. And I thought I'd try to come back and get home because my husband's home alone. And
he's 80. He's elderly.
He's elderly. We both are, anyway, I didn't want to leave him alone for too long. And
what did police say in terms of you getting back home?
Well, they said I couldn't go past that yellow ribbon because some other vehicles like these were going to be coming through. And I said, well, I can walk through the yards. I mean, my house is just right there. And he said, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. And I understand, but
how long are you prepared to stay out here?
Well, thankfully, my brother lives only 4 miles away. I'll just go back to their house and stay as long as I have to. So.
Yeah, exactly. Just talk to me about something happening. What do you know about the Church of Latter-day Saints? I know it's not your church, but what can you tell us because it's in your residential area?
I always thought it was nice to have churches as neighbors because they're usually quiet and peaceful, and we've never had any problems or anything with them, and they're quiet. And it's nice to have churches nearby.
I know that they said there were quite a few people in there when this incident happened. I mean, this is the main road to the church on any given Sunday. How busy is it with people coming and going?
On the weekends, it's fairly busy, but not extreme. I think when you go into town, it's busier. It's quiet. This is a quiet area. It's close to town, but it feels like you're out in the country.
Yeah. And what do you know about the church's mission and everything like that? Do you see a lot of like activities going on there, family activities?
I really don't know much about the church at all. I know they've had visitors come walking through our neighborhood and knocking on doors once or twice. And I've always been pleasant. I mean,
Well, Miss Ott,
Ingrid, are you there?
Get home soon? Me too. Yes, I am. And I think Charlie has a question. Yes, I'm listening.
Let me ask the resident a question real quick. And you may have covered, and I apologize. The church there, have they had any type of security issues? Have they ever had any disruptions in the church? Anything along those lines?
This is Charlie Langton. He would like to know, have there been any sort of disruptions at the church, any type of security issues at the church over the years that you are aware of?
I'm not aware of anything like that.
It's peaceful.
It's peaceful. It's a peaceful area.
How many people are at this church? This is a very popular church in the area.
I was asking her that earlier. Just the activity and the amount of people that go back and forth. The chief did say there were quite a few people in the church at the time of this incident. But on any particular given Sunday, how many hundreds of cars? What do you see?
I take my dog for a walk early in the morning, and maybe a few cars coming and going, but I think that's earlier than when they come for church. I don't know what time it starts. And on the Sundays, I'm getting ready for my church. So I'm busy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Can I ask, is she a little worried now that she lives so close to the church that maybe she's going to do something differently? Maybe get more video or take extra precaution because of all this?
Charlie just wants to know, because you live so close to the church and in light of this incident, do you plan on beefing up security at your home?
I haven't really thought about it. Probably not. The one thing I did say to my husband when I did talk to him, I said, don't answer the door for anybody because you don't know.
Exactly.
And he had talked to our son earlier who lives in Warren, but he was upset and he had to talk to somebody. And he said the same thing. Dad, just go do your thing in the basement and don't answer the door.
Yeah. So we know that this man is 40 years old. He's from Burden. What does that say? I mean, he drove through the doors of the church. He shot 10 people. He's now deceased. There's one victim that's deceased, and they believe that there may be more. They believe that he also set a fire there. Just listening to the details of this incident, and it's in your backyard. What are you thinking?
I never thought it would come this far to our area, but living out here, you just don't hear about things like that. Yep, not close by, not my backyard. So we live in rough times.
Thank you so much. Thank you for talking to us. Thank you.
Okay,
and
so
again, there's
we got some, and don't worry, we're coming back to this. There's just some things I'm gonna read like off camera here really quick before we continue on. And yeah, this whole thing is absolutely crazy. Now, as far as the name of the assailant, that has not been confirmed yet at all. I've gone through so many different like platforms and places to see if there's any confirmation of the assailant or a confirmation on the name of the assailant. They have not given that out. They have not confirmed it. There is a name that is circulating. They're even saying a race of the assailant, but there is not any confirmation from local from legacy media or even from local media as well. This is just people saying stuff right now from what I've seen. Okay. No, I'm not trying to protect anybody or anything of that sort. Okay. But one thing is for sure. They are basically saying from the information or from the things that have been seen on the car and all that, they're saying that this guy, could be a veteran. And of course he is 40 years old. Now, we don't know everything yet. There's a name that's floating around that I know Janobi just said earlier, but there is no confirmation on that particular person's name. And we do not know who he is and all that. We don't know his ideations. We do not know what his political views are. We don't know anything yet. Not yet. Okay. But there is a name that I just mentioned earlier. But like I said, because there is no confirmation of that person, I don't want to say that person's name again until we actually have confirmation. Does that make sense? Because it gets reckless. People go out there, they start putting out people's names, or they go after and they Google this person's name, find a person that, may be the guy or may not even be the guy, and they just blast his face all over the internet. And that gets crazy and that gets reckless. But there are a few things that I can share with you guys that is true. One thing that's very interesting and very true. Hold on, hopefully it'll open up for me. 1 second. Remember the photo that I showed you guys about the hold on. Remember the photo where we saw the truck with the flags? Well, now we're seeing trucks with flags. A truck with flags and something on the license plate that I want to share with y'all. Take a look at this. Blat Al. So remember the truck? So he drove, look at that. First off, look at what he did. He somehow, remember there was a wall? Remember there was a wall right there. You see that? Remember that wall when we saw the other photo? And I know you guys can't see it. If you go over to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see it over there, okay? But as you guys can see here, remember the wall? There was a wall. Now that wall is gone. So this guy busts through the wall with his car. Yeah, apparently they said that there's other photos that were fake. But it's the same area. It's the same photo. Like, it's the same area, same truck, same flags. Then they also have this photo too, which is also interesting. Iraq on the excuse me. On the license plate. That's very interesting, though. That's interesting. So again, I mean, he had flags on the back of the car. The big old truck. So that's very interesting too. Very interesting stuff. Hold on, guys. Hold on. We got other eyewitnesses, it looks like, talking again, because I'm very interested to see what's going on here and what these people saw. And maybe they say something more about the guy. I mean, that's what's so weird about this whole situation. They're not saying much. They haven't said anything. They're withholding that information about this guy, and I'm wondering why. Get it all out there. He's gone, right? Unless they're not saying anything because they believe maybe they're concerned about if there's somebody else who's involved, that person might start running. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, the person would already know by now. You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, damn, he really did what he said he was going to do. And then they try to run, right? If there was somebody else involved, right? But we'll see. Let's continue. Let's see this.
Duvall. She's standing here. She is with Henry Ford Genesis. And it's really interesting because this church basically is with this incident happened. There's nurses who were on strike and they rushed in to help. Talk to us a little bit about how this went down.
So, hi, my name is Tara. I was actually downtown Detroit with my Teamster family. I am currently on strike along with 700 other nurses at Henry Ford Genesis, Grand Blanc. And immediately, we all received the messages. Immediately, we're in our panic mode. That's our family. Not to get into too much detail, but my coworkers attend there, their children attend there, our family attends there, and we're getting calls that our coworkers are affected by this. Again, I won't go into detail, but we're being pushed away by Henry Ford. We want to be in there, we want to be helping, and there's babies. I'm sorry, I take my kids preciously. I take every life preciously.
Wow.
So you went into the hospital.
I was down in Detroit at the time, but there were ER nurses, there were other staff that are currently on strike, that know that hospital, that know how that hospital works, that can provide the care that they needed at this time. It was a mass casualty. They needed the help. They needed all hands on deck, and they were pushing the nurses that were on strike away. They would not let them enter the building.
And so when that happened, you came over here to the scene.
Absolutely.
Describe what happened.
We rushed here immediately because we wanted to offer our help. This is, again, our community. This is who we are fighting for. And it's not just this community, it's all of nursing, it's all of healthcare. This should have never happened. Why are our babies, why are our churches and schools, why are we being targeted like this? And why can't we help? This is what we devoted our lives to, is helping our patients.
So when you came here, how did you assist the people here at the scene?
My coworkers, I arrived a little bit late. My coworkers were there. They said they did as much as they could. And, you know, anything a nurse can do. What is that? Show love, show up, give a hug, assist that family member that's crying, that doesn't know what's going on, that maybe doesn't know where their family member is at. Anything that we could offer, like nurses do, we were there for that.
Describe the scene when you came over here. I don't know, how close did you get to the church and what did you see with your own eyes? I mean, obviously this is all in real time.
Well, driving up the highway, you can see the smoke. You could absolutely see the smoke. Immediately, silence. You know, it was just a very, very somber feeling. You just knew something was bad. You knew something was bad. You come up to the road, you see all the construction tape. You see all the counties here. You see everybody. And it's serious. It's serious. This is our Grand Blanc.
Yeah, and I know that some of your coworkers attend this church. What can you share?
I personally, I can't go further on that for reasons that it's personal, and I'll let them speak on that on their behalf.
Okay. All right then. Look, thank you so much for what you do and for sharing that story. You know, again, it's stories like this. I mean, whether it's a resident, whether it's a nurse, you know, the victims inside, this incident has touched so many lives. We're around here and just hearing these things. I mean, we're going to be hearing stories come out for weeks and weeks ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people are going to be talking about this for sure. President Trump did come out with a statement, so I want to bring that up to you guys as well. Breaking news. He just came out with a statement, so let's take a look at that as well. This is, this is crazy stuff here. But he says this is on. He posted this on Truth Social. He said, "I've been briefed on the horrendous tragedy that took place at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. The FBI was immediately on the scene, and will be leading the federal investigation and providing full support to state and local officials." The suspect is gone, passed away, but there is still a lot to learn. This appears to be yet another targeted attack on Christians in the United States of America. The Trump administration will keep the public posted, as we always do. In the meantime, pray for the victims and their families. This epidemic of violence in our country must end immediately. And he did that in all caps, that last sentence. Yeah, NB, it didn't take very long. But like I said, there's other mass tragedies that happened over the last couple days. over the last 24 hours. And now it's an attack on Christians in the U.S. But what about all the other people that lost their lives today, too? What about all the mass tragedies that happened this week, y'all? So like I said, it's just, sorry, not sorry. I'm just stating the obvious, okay? Before some of y'all getting your feelings, just saying the divisiveness is deafening. But we'll see what happens. I just hope that's it. But there were other people. Yeah. People lost their lives, man. People lost their lives. But okay. So there it is. What I feared is exactly what he wrote in that tweet. It's frustrating, guys. Okay. But it is what it is. All right. He said what he said. He said what he said. Okay. President Trump is the president. He said what he said. But moving on. Hold on. Let me see something here really quick. Wow, Malia, thank you so much for sending this to me. Oh, my dear Lord. You guys have got to see just what it looks like now. This is after the fire. Blau. Look at that. Oh, my God. Okay, so first off, hold on. Before we look at this, let me save this real quick and then open this mug. If it'll allow me to do that. One second, y'all. I need to get a new computer. This computer's tripping. Okay. I want you guys to see this. So now we know proof positive that this is not a fugazi. So the photos that we saw earlier were not fake news. It was not fake. Okay. This is really what it looks like. And I'm showing you proof positive because, like I said, let me show you again. This is the front. Okay. You see not the front. This is the side of the building, I guess, that he ran his car into. He drove that into the side of the building so hard that it broke the brick. That's insane. Okay. Unless he lit something off, unless he made a boom boom that made the thing go boom, right? And breaking the wall. I want you guys to see this. So, because some of you guys are saying the rumor has it that this stuff is fake. No, it's not. Because now we see the aerial shot, blow, right here. And take a look at here. I'm gonna zoom in. Boom. There's the car. Oh my God, y'all. So he definitely took that car and drove it straight into the side of the building, breaking the brick. And then he opened fire. So he didn't drive into the front door of the building. He drove straight into a wall, breaking through the brick wall. And then he opened fire. But there's the car. There's the truck, the same truck that we were looking at right here. Same truck. And you can see right there, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, visitors welcome. Let's zoom out a little bit so you guys can see the rest of this. Look at this, y'all. Oh my God. Now I know you guys can't see it. Go check it out on my YouTube channel, The Pascal Show. Go on over there and see it over there. Okay, guys? It's all on YouTube. You can see it there. One day, everything, you'll be able to see the live show here too. I got to figure that out. Okay. Someone who knows that stuff needs to hit me up and let me know how I could get my live feed on YouTube right here on the TikTok so you guys can see it all in its glory. And you get the microphone and everything. Okay. But this is crazy. Look at this. Unbelievable, y'all. This is the nightmare that we live in, guys. See, here's the thing. We don't know, guys. We do not know if it's right wing or left wing. We do not know anything. Okay. There's rumors that are flooding all over the internet right now, but there is no confirmation on whether or not this guy was on the left or on the right. We don't know anything. There's rumors that he was an ex-member of the actual church. We don't know if that's actually true. There's rumors that he was a veteran, but we don't know if that's entirely true. That's just what people are saying in the streets. We don't know if that's true. So I think it's best to not point fingers right now until we find out the full scope of everything. Like I said, we live in a time where everybody wants to point the finger and blame everybody when we all should be looking at ourselves. Real talk. We all should be looking at ourselves as a country. We really should. Let's take a look at this. We got another person. She's been on this woman right here, this reporter right here. She on the beat and she getting all the information. All right. So I guess this is another eyewitness. Let's take a listen to this. Like I said, let's not be reckless. Let's wait till they give us more information. Right. Is it Randy Swag? Is it Restream? Word? Okay. I'm gonna look at it. Yeah, you know what? I wasn't born I wasn't born with thorns. This could be personal. It could be. It could very well be personal. There may be nothing bigger to this than just some crazy psychopath getting in their feelings about maybe not being allowed to be a patron of this church. It could very well be that, right? But at the same time, I'm sure he left something behind. I'm sure he did. I'm sure there's a letter or something. We'll see.
Resident who I found just patiently waiting in her car, unfortunately can't get home right now. Miss Howard, talk to us about your feelings and what you know about the church.
I don't know much about the church. I just know that it's in my area. It's a place that I walk around occasionally for exercise. As far as me not being able to get home, I mean, this is just something you don't expect to see in person. You hear and read about things in the news, but to have it in your front yard, in your backyard, like right across the street from where you live, and not be able to get home because of the destruction that's going on, it's just.
Talk to me. You were in your church at the time. Talk to me about how you were notified.
We have a number of police officers and things at our church, and they received a notice that there was an active shooting in the area, and we immediately went on protective mode, lockdown situation. And I was coming home, thinking that's it, something I'll see or read on the news. And as I'm coming home, I could see like the black cloud just hovering over my neighborhood. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's right in my neighborhood. And then I get to the street and can't get home. Can't get home.
Wow.
So
And I understand you work for the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office. You've already talked to work.
I have, yep. And I talked to my boss to let her know. I don't know if I'll be in because I can't get home to change clothes. I can't get my work equipment or anything. So she just said to let her know if I need anything, they'll support me 100%. But this is just different. You don't expect it.
Exactly. And again, so close to home in your neighborhood and everything like that. What do you know about this church?
Not much. I haven't been here that many years, so I'm not too familiar.
But there's community events there, peaceful environment. You've never seen anything destructive there.
Never anything destructive. Never heard anything destructive. Neighborhood is so super quiet. You don't hear anything. Maybe a dog barking every now and then, but you don't hear anything. So.
Yeah. Again, just when you look around at the number that's massive. Charlie, go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask Miss Howard, if you could just give us a little idea of Grand Blanc. What kind of city is it? Do people know everybody? Is this a popular church? And then also,
that's a good
let's just
question.
go
Is it a
that,
popular
and then we'll have
church?
one more follow up.
So Charlie Langton, he just would like to ask you, talk to us about Grand Blanc. What is it like? What type of community is this? And again, just this sense of community.
Oh, there's a serious sense of community here. The Grand Blanc High School has a lot of events going on. A lot of times, just at the corner, you'll see a number of vendors and different activities going on in the neighborhood. I do see activity at the church as far as people dropping their kids off. I believe there's a daycare there or something of the sort in the mornings. But other than that, quiet community. You don't hear anything. Nice place to just get home and relax and just live life.
Yeah. And what's your second question, Charlie?
Yeah, does she know anything about Burton, where the gunman, the shooter, apparently lives? What
Yeah.
about Burton?
So in the press conference, the chief said that the shooter, the alleged shooter, is a 40-year-old person from Burton. What can you tell us about that area?
I'm not too familiar with
Burton?
Burton.
Burton?
I do believe I have some friends that still live out that way, but I've never heard anything bad about any of the surrounding areas, to be exact, and especially something to this magnitude.
Hmm.
Just don't expect it to be in your face. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It definitely does.
No, I mean, of course, yeah. You don't expect this to ever happen. Like this, it's crazy, right? This whole thing is just absolutely crazy. Hold on. So I'm gonna read this off camera or off screen real quick. Whoops. I meant to do that. Because there's a few things. So there was somebody who was actually at the church when this whole thing went down. Genobi read it or gave it to us in a super chat, but I want to confirm this as well. They say Paul Kirby, 38 years old, who was at the church when this whole tragedy occurred. He said he heard something that sounded like an explosion outside. When he went outside to help, he said he saw a man about 10 to 20 yards away from him getting out of his truck and started to fire at people. He said a bullet went through the glass door beside him, and a piece of shrapnel hit his leg. He then ran inside, gathered his family, and others ran out the back of the church. He said they said the scaredest I've ever been. I'm sorry. The scaredest I've ever been. Of course, we already read what Trump said in his Truth Social post. The suspect was used in assault style rifle. Okay, in this tragedy. Let's see what else. The Senator Elisa Slotkin made a statement about this whole situation. She said, what a terrible day for the community of Grand Blanc, where a truly unspeakable mass tragedy occurred, this time targeting a peaceful and crowded place of worship, and with a serious fire that is still ongoing. We all grieve with the family and friends of those who lost their life. They are feeling shock and pain of such senseless acts of violence, and we pray for the injured survivors fighting to recover at this moment. Deep thanks to our police, fire, first responders, and hospital staff from Grand Blanc and far beyond, who had to deal with both the tragedy and a serious fire, and leading during an extreme and complicated crisis. Of course, she continued saying on her social media post, we will know more in the coming days and weeks, and there will be more to say. But today, we send our strength to those involved who must now try to pick up the pieces and grieve. Let's see. Yeah, that's what we have right now, so far. But again, this is some crazy. This whole thing's pretty crazy. It just don't stop. It just don't stop. Let me see if there's anything else. But like I said, they have not. The press conference already happened. There will be another press conference here soon. But for those of y'all who want to know exactly what's going on, let me just repeat this again. I didn't get a chance to repeat it. There were so many updates and things going on. I know the likes of Hollis and others want to know what's going on. Press conference already happened. We already watched it. If you want to, I recommend you go scroll back and watch the press conference. We already listened to it. But during that press conference, they confirmed a few things. One, this was a 40-year-old male. They did not confirm a name. They did not say anything about anything. They just said he is a 40-year-old male who rammed his car into, well, they said it sounded like he ran through the front door of the church, only to find out that he actually drove through the side of the church with his truck. I'm just going to show you guys that photo one more again as we continue. So he drove through the side of the side of the building of the church, and then he opened fire. Now, what we understand is that 10 people were injured. One of the 10 lost their lives. So there's 1 gone, 9 injured. This assailant lost their life too. They were neutralized by police. All right. We also know that they believe that this particular 40-year-old assailant, 40-year-old male assailant, started the fire inside the church. So he walked in, he opened fire, he did a lot of damage, obviously caused a lot of tragedies, and then he lit something or threw something that set this whole place on fire. And then, of course, now you see the aftermath. Smoke still billowing out of the building as we speak, because they have just successfully stopped the fire from burning. Okay. And they believe that there could be more tragedy or more casualties inside the rubble, inside the burned down church, because some people may have been trapped. Some people may have been unalived by this assailant before he lit the place on fire. And this is what we know so far. It don't stop, guys. It just don't stop. Just checking to see if there's any more updates. Hold on. Another guy speaking. Let's take a look at this.
We have it right in front of you. Here it is. Holly Redeemer Football Field in Burton at 7 o'clock. And that's going to be the organizer there, Pastor Toma. There's going to be the candlelight vigil. So there. Should we go back now to Camille?
Thank you so much, Jason. All right. Okay. All right, Carolyn, we're going to toss this back to you, but we will continue to stay out here and continue behind the shirts.
Oh, well, that didn't help.
No, you're good. You don't want to waste it, or like $10. We'll continue to just kind of recap.
Well, I thought he was going to do. That sucks.
2 unfolding scenes. One of them taking place in Grand Blanc outside of a church. The second one.
Oh, we got something else here. Let's see.
Burton, where the suspected shooter's home.
Let's go here.
While I was at work, my son.
I'm hearing that we have another report coming from Camille, who again.
Now, here's the thing, though. We're hearing a lot from the residents of the area. What I want to hear is somebody who actually was in the actual church. That would be helpful, right? Then we can get a better semblance of what actually happened here, right? But I digress.
While I was at work, my son called me and said that something was on fire. And so then my coworker, she went going through her phone, and she said there was an active shooter at a church. And I was like, oh, wow. And so then she kept going through her phone, and she was like, that I guess he was shot dead, and that he was from Burton. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she said that he lived off of Center and Atherton. I was like, wow. So then I leave work, come home and see all this. you know. And so my apartment is right down there. And so it's just unbelievable. I didn't know the guy. I seen maybe once or twice, seeing a gentleman bringing the trash to the front. Other than that, nothing. I don't know anything about him, but from conversations I've had with a few people here, they said he was a veteran. He would help out young kids with, like baseball leagues and football and things like that. And he is just like, it's just unbelievable. You never know what a person is going through. You never know what is going on in a person's mind.
Yeah, what's your reaction? What do you think? What goes through your mind when you pull up and see this right outside your apartment?
Scared a little bit. I'm a widow. I've been a widow for 6 years. I live alone, but I put my trust in God, put my trust in God and ask God for his protection every day and keep his guardian angels around me. But, I really feel for the families, even feel for the accused, it's just sad. It's really sad.
Have you ever seen anything like this happen here?
No, never in my life. Never in my life. Like I said, it's just unbelievable. It's just sad situation. Really sad situation. You know how some families just lives are destroyed 2.2 seconds. So
Thank you so much for talking to us.
you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so that was Camille and Mary they were interviewing somebody who presumably lives next to where those search warrants are being carried out, which is the shooter's home.
Okay. So now we are hearing something. So maybe the information that's out here is true. So again, that was a resident that's next door to where they're doing a search warrant, the house that they're doing a search warrant of. So that's why I was like, what is she talking about? So I got to roll that back a little bit because now we get better context of what the hell's going on here. I just want to hear what she has to say one more time because then we'll be able to fully understand this a little bit better.
I'm hearing that we have
one more time.
Camille, who again has some sound to share with us.
While I was at work, my son called me and said that something was on fire. And so then my coworker, she went going through her phone and she said there was an active shooter at a church. And I was like, oh, wow. So then she kept going through her phone and she was like, that I guess he was shot dead and that he was from Burton. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then she said that he lived off of Center and Atherton. I was like, wow. So then I come home, leave work, come home and see all this, And so my apartment.
So she a neighbor, okay? She a neighbor to the assailant's home. Okay, now we're getting, and now I'm getting it at least. Sorry. This one was a slow creeper for me. Okay, she lives in the same area. She's about to say about her apartment.
Right down there, and so it's just unbelievable. I didn't know the guy. I seen maybe once or twice, seeing a gentleman bringing the trash to the front. Other than that, nothing. I don't know anything about him, but from conversations I've had with a few people here, they said he was a veteran. He would help out young kids with, like baseball leagues and football and things like that. And he is just like, it's just unbelievable. You never know what a person is going through. You never know what is going on in a person's mind.
Okay. So now I understand this better. I was like, what is she talking about? So she is no, I'm going to explain everything, Fox. Don't worry. I'm going to explain all of this here in a second. Okay. Because you didn't hear any of that. Okay. Yes. Grace Wank. I will recap. So this is a neighbor to the assailants. I guess he lives in the same neighborhood or like next door to this woman. So they're interviewing this woman because she's like, yeah, we heard about that there was a fire, and then there's it's talking about an active assailant, and then suddenly they said that there's that he lived on my street. Basically, I'm paraphrasing here, okay, but basically whoa, that sounds a lot like my street where I live, and then that's when she realized that they were going and raiding his home right next to hers. So she's like, I'm just very floored, because it just seemed like he just was like some regular guy from what she's saying. So, but she said something that was being in the rumor mill, which was, and sometimes the rumor mill is faster than the news, right? They said that this person was a veteran, but that's all she said so far. But then she also said that this veteran was, did a lot of stuff with the kids, like community work type stuff. Nothing nefarious, nothing like that. But just like, they would go and, do certain things, like coach football, that kind of thing. Right. But that's all she said so far. She's like, you never know what kind of person, you never know what a person's going through kind of thing. So she's just as shocked as anybody else. Seems like he was a nice, regular guy. At least that's what she's saying, right? Obviously, he had something else going on in his mind. Let's continue.
Yeah, what's your reaction? What do you think? What goes through your mind when you pull up and see this right outside your apartment?
So let me repeat this again. And I know a lot of people are wondering what his race is. That's the rumor is that he's black, but there's no confirmation of that. But again, like I said, they say that he's a veteran. They say that obviously he's 40. He's male. You never know. He could be white. He could be black. He could be Asian. You never know. But one thing that they did say that she confirmed here that the rumor mill has been saying is that he is a veteran. He's a veteran. So she just said that. That's confirming that. She never says anything about his race, though, in the conversation, but it shouldn't matter. In my personal opinion, it shouldn't matter. Okay. But like I said, we don't know if he's white, black. We don't know yet. There's no confirmation of that so far. Okay. But let's continue.
Scared a little bit. I'm a widow. I've been a widow for 6 years. I live alone, but I put my trust in God, put my trust in God and ask God for his protection every day. Keep his guardian angels around me. I really feel for the families, even feel for the accused, it's just sad.
And they kind of linger a little bit on this because it's like she says it's just sad, and it's like, yeah, the interview's over. Like she said what she had to say. So that's where it ends, in my personal opinion. They just kind of linger on her for too long, and you could clearly see it's like, I already said what I had to say. Can you kind of I got nothing else to say. It's sad. I'm praying. I'm even praying for the accused. I'm praying for the victim and for the accused. It's all sad all the way around, and it's true. It's very, very sad all the way around. Jasmine, thank you so much. I appreciate you being a member for the past 11 months. I appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. Of course. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Beautiful messy ball. Yes. I did show that the Iraq license plate. I did show that on the back of the car. So yeah, that confirms that he was a veteran as well. For sure. Given the fact that he had those license plates, but people out here can cosplay, you know what I mean? Just because they are part of some CrossFit box and they suddenly have, and they're at least somewhat decent into CrossFit, You know what I'm saying? That they're all rocking the garb and the all the tactical gear. You see what I'm saying? I'm just saying there's people that are out here that will cosplay like military. You know what I mean? But they ain't never been deployed, never even enlisted. You see what I'm saying? There's plenty of people that are like that, right? But then there are plenty of people out there that are literally proud to be a veteran serving their country and all that. So again, anything's possible. But we're hearing from her, a source, her neighbor, saying that, hey, bang, he was a veteran. All right. And apparently he did some sort of community work with kids, coaching football and all that. So again, she is just as shook as anybody else. And I don't blame her. I'm shook about this too. Oh, we got another one. I don't know if this is probably just another resident, but that's the thing. This is what's so annoying about this, because it's like, no disrespect to the residents in the area, because that's still terrifying, yes. But at the same time, I want to hear from the people who were actually there. You know what I mean? Like the eyewitnesses that saw something, because that would help a little bit more, right? Just hearing what they saw. But here's another one. Here's another interview.
As this is all transpiring, a recovery effort to find out how many victims potentially are at play here as we.
Yeah. Okay. What's your name? Yeah. Okay. What's your name?
Jason.
Jason. What's your last name?
Miller.
Miller. M-I-L. Yeah.
Notice the hat that he's wearing. Notice the hat that he's wearing. He's got a Second Amendment, a hat that says Second Amendment, God and guns. I'm just saying. Okay. Let's continue.
So what can you tell us about the situation?
So obviously they've connected him to what happened at the church this morning, which is a really sad thing. I spoke with somebody in the parking lot a little bit earlier, that's supposedly pretty good friends with him, which I do believe because of the emotions the guy was showing, that this guy was a stand-up guy and would do things for anybody. Did say he was an Army vet. Have no clue if that's what the truth is to that. But if he was and something triggered him, I can see why, because what do we do for our vets? A lot of this is starting to happen nowadays. Something's got to be done. We got to start taking care of our people. A lot of sickness going on. It's got to be changed.
Did you learn his name by chance?
I did, but I'm not going to speak of that until, obviously I don't want to say somebody's name and then not actually be the name, but I'm pretty certain that, I do know the name. But
that's fair. And you live
That is fair.
nearby?
I'm about a mile up the road here.
So just seeing all this has to be really troubling.
Yeah, it is. It is troubling. A mile from home, it's.
Let me just point out, by the way, because some of y'all were, like I said, we don't know. And like I said, his race shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. But I do want to point out, we are listening and watching a white male who lives in the same area. Okay, neighbor lives in the same area. All right, talking. So I'm just saying, just because we saw a woman speak who is a neighbor and she happens to be black does not automatically mean that this is all entirely a black neighborhood. Okay. More and more towns and more areas are a lot more integrated than you think. The other thing, hold on, before we continue. And what's interesting is that this guy here is like, I know his name, but I'm not going to say it, which I think that's fair. I think that's respectful that he's like, I'm not going to say his name because I want to wait till, the news is out there. That is what his name is, right? Before I just start putting out his name. And I think that's a fair and responsible thing to do, right? So we'll wait. But chicken head, bark, bark, chicken head. But anyway, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. So I think you're saying sorry to bother you, but I'm an ex Latter-day Saint. Okay. And I'm a native. It's predominantly white. The church is mostly white. Interesting. That's very, very interesting. There's been, like I said, there's plenty of races that are Jewish to, convert to Judaism to, you know what I mean? Plenty of places, even Mormonism. There's plenty, you know what I mean? So anything's possible. But thank you so much for that fact and that information. Okay. But again, you got this guy right here talking about this whole situation. He's just as shook as anybody else.
And obviously, it's getting closer for all of us, right, to home. It's getting a lot closer for all of us. So when it starts getting this close, you're not just looking at the TV screen saying, oh my God, I feel bad for these people. I feel bad what's going on. It's here now. And that's why I say, we got to do something. It's getting to be a problem. And what's the solution? I have no clue. Does anybody know? I don't think so, but a lot of people will be mad at me for saying this. Technology is the biggest problem. These smartphones, these apps. I truly believe that is one of the biggest culprits to our society today and the sickness. I really do.
What do you think? Do you think he's just said one of the issues, he's like, obviously he's very shook about this whole situation and all that, but he also said he thinks that the reason why all of this it has become the way it's become is because of the internet. He said it's because of technology, because of these apps. Do you agree with him or not? I think it's a double-edged sword. I think there's really great things about the internet. Without the internet, I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. So I'm very thankful for the internet. But at the same time, yeah, there are some dark spaces. There's some dark places for sure. But I also think that sometimes you get most of the truth through the internet and not through legacy media. That's what I think too. So I don't know. What say you though? What say you guys though? Do you agree with what he's saying or not? Okay. Definitely let me know your thoughts here. Let me get this here really quick. Chicken Head just said, yeah, not in the church. Go look it up. See the demographics. Yeah. No, you got a point though. It's Mormonism. It's Mormonism. So, I don't think we'll see. Like I said, maybe what they're saying here in these streets is 100% true, or it could be 110%. Like it could be, 50% right and the other part is wrong. But we'll see what happens, right? I'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Have you ever experienced or witnessed anything like this ever?
Not nothing to this
Level.
Yeah, not to this level. I've never witnessed. I've been in a gas station before where a guy come in and tried to rob it, but that was nothing. He got scared and ran away. So, any other questions?
Anything else you want to add?
Everybody live life. You're out here to have a smile, right? Keep your chin high. Live life. That's all you can do. Keep moving on. And that's about it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You so much.
Yep.
I just heard there was a resident in the area says that he knows who the suspected shooter is. We'll follow up with that in a moment. We've got some terrible news coming into our newsroom right now. Police have just confirmed that another victim has died. That makes 2 victims died along with the shooter. 3 people dead total, but 2 victims. Another victim died. The police, when he gave
we got an
press
update.
conference not too long ago, said that there were others in critical condition and some were in stable condition. But now we have two victims in that church, and we still don't know.
2 victims have lost
if
their
there are
lives.
other victims inside the church. The police seem to think that there were victims inside the church that went up in flames earlier. So this is a terrible tragedy situation developing. Just getting word in now to our Fox 2 newsroom.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do have an update, guys. So some breaking news. We do have 2 now. A second person has lost their life due to injuries that they suffered from this situation. Chunky Monster just said that they released his name and what he looks like. I'm gonna look and see what the story is with that too. Just give me a second. Oh, wow. Well, Breaking 911 just put out this. They're saying at least 3 people have lost their lives now. Oh, wait, no. Sorry. So it's only 2 people, okay? 2 people. Sorry, guys, I have something in my eye. It's driving me nuts. So they say that a second person has lost their life, okay, due to the injuries that they received from this assailant. All right. So that would be 3 people in total, but that also includes the assailant. But I don't add him. Okay. I don't add the monsters on. I put them off to the side. Okay. Just so you guys know. Let me see if there's any more updates here. But that is tragic. Very, very frustrating because you're hoping that people would make it, right? But there's more. Okay. Just give me a second, guys. There's more. I need to look up a few things. Some of you guys are saying that the name has been released. I don't know if it has been. I haven't seen anything about a name being released as of yet. But I am going to keep looking and see if a face and a name has been released, but I haven't seen anything yet. See, now here's the thing. They have put out, okay. So face and name is being put out here, but nobody's actually, I don't see this coming from a reliable source, though. I'm seeing and here's the other thing, too. The face and the name that they're putting out, they're not saying that he's black. They're saying that he's white. Let me explain. There are people out here that were putting out information, and this is nuts. They're putting out the name, and then they were also saying that he was black, and that some of these people were like, he was in MK Ultra training. Literally, they said he's a veteran, he's black, and he's in MK Ultra training. That's the BS that they put out at first. Now we're hearing that what they're sharing, the face that they're sharing right now. Oh, he's definitely not black. He's definitely not black. He's definitely in his 40s and he's definitely male. So again, very interesting. But they have not confirmed that yet. Like I said, people are going ham, putting out information, but we don't have the confirmation as of yet. Let me just let you guys know that. Words are coming out of people's mouths that is not correct. Hold on. Let me just show you what I mean. Let me show you what I mean. So you don't have to ask any questions, okay? Actually, let me just do a refresh really quick just to see if there's any information here, okay? I just want to make sure because the internet moves fast and they put out information, and sometimes they move too fast, too furious, putting out information that's not even entirely true. One of them was saying, and I'm just going to read it off camera here or off screen here. They said, turns out the shooter, the assailant, his name is such and such. I'm not going to say his name. They say a 42-year-old black male Army veteran with MK Ultra training. Yeah, that's what people were sharing. I'm not kidding. I'm sharing the latest details of this morning's tragic event at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Authorities have identified the suspect as 42-year-old such and such, a local ex-Army veteran with a history of mental health struggles and anti-Mormon posts. He rammed his truck into the church, opened fire during services, and set the building ablaze, which led to a partial roof collapse. An off-duty Genesee County Sheriff's deputy heroically neutralized him at the scene. So they, of course, say that he is gone, right? Let's see. And this is just information that's being put out here. Not once did they say anything about this guy's race, but people were out here trying to say that he is of a specific race. There's no confirmation of that. And now, like I said, it's crazy how quickly the pendulum is swinging because now we're getting something completely different. At first, it was 42-year-old black male. Now it's, oh, he's white. At least this is what they're saying now. But let me read this to you guys. And of course, I'm not using his name because, like I said, I don't know how reliable this source is. This is just somebody putting out information and putting a photo out here of this guy. And this could be a regular ass innocent dude just at Starbucks having his mocha latte, chilling in the cut, suddenly dropping it in shock when he goes, "Oh my gosh, my face is plastered all over the internet," because they think I'm the one who did it. I'm here drinking a Mai Tai. I'm drinking matcha before my yoga class. You see what I'm saying? So again, people are knucking futs out here, y'all. But here's the main update. Now they have a second person that has lost their life. And there's a possibility that the number is going to rise because they believe that there could be a few people that lost their lives inside that burning church. Okay? That's something. But let me read this to you guys. So this particular assailant, they say he's 42 years old. Okay? And this is what they're saying. I don't know if this is entirely true, so take this with a grain of salt. Served in the U.S. Army with indications pointing to deployment in the Iraq War. His vehicle used in the attack displayed the in Iraq conflict veteran license plate and featured Iraq War flags, suggesting combat experience in that theater. This particular guy, this assailant, had a documented history of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and broader mental health challenges stemming from his military service, which authorities are reviewing as part of the investigation into his motives. No official details on his rank, specific unit, enlisted dates, or discharge status have been released by the Department of Defense or law enforcement, as the incident occurred earlier today and the probe is still ongoing. Reports describe his behavior as increasingly erratic in recent months, potentially linked to untreated service-related issues. Now, this is what they put out about this particular person. If this is not, but we do not know if this is true or not. Again, people could get real reckless out here because they want to be the first to come out with the information, or they want to serve a certain narrative. But what we understand, and if any of it is true, this guy was a veteran. He went in, he did what he did to this place, and he's no longer here. This is a big problem with mental health, with our veterans, giving them the proper care and the proper mental health support that they need, especially if they've been deployed, especially when they've been deployed, period. Now, there is speculation that he was an ex-churchgoer or he was part of that church. Maybe he had been kicked out. He felt some type of way about that and retaliated. That's possible. But one thing is for sure. I think the reason why they haven't put out this guy's face or name or anything of that sort as of yet, I think is solely because he's ex-military. I really do think that it has something to do with ex-military. Now, I know some of y'all, because, some of y'all wear those tinfoil hats. Some of y'all are thinking maybe they didn't do this. Maybe they're not putting out his information because they want to create that narrative, because they don't want it to be just some guy who just had a personal vendetta against the church, that maybe they want to spin this to something else. I don't know about all that. But what I do know is that this monster went out there, opened fire on these people, these innocent lives, and this person should not have done what he did. And clearly there's plenty of things that could have been done to prevent this from happening. I truly think. If he had the proper care, proper help, at least it could have slowed things down. How's that? But this is pretty crazy. You want to know why I'm thinking? Because something. Okay. I think I'm going to do a movie review because I haven't done one of those in a really, really long time. But I just watched one battle after the what is it called? Oh, I hate when I do that. One battle after the other. One battle after another. I just watched that, right? Just watched that. And yeah, when I get time, shoot, I don't get a whole lot of time. My free time does not, there's no such thing as free time. Okay. No such thing. All right. But when I get time, I try to get a movie in. I do, because I love myself some movies. Now, what's interesting is that movie, there's a part in the movie where the opposing side, I can't really say much because you got to go and check it out. I thought it was a very good movie. But it's like you got two sides, right? You got the police, and then you got, like, I guess basically Antifa, right? On the opposing side. And they're protesting. There's no violence, nothing crazy. And then the guy, one of the heads of the police radios in and says, bring in Eddie Van Halen. And out of nowhere, a car screeches up, like clearly a police vehicle screeches up, and a guy in a Van Halen t-shirt with a Molotov in his hand hops out of the car on the side of the Antifa side, lights the Molotov, and goes up to the front of the crowd and throws the Molotov cocktail, setting like the space in between the police and the protesters on fire, right? And because that happened, that's when that's when the police start launching pepper balls and tear gas and all that stuff, right? And that was in this movie. Okay. It's crazy to think that, but it's interesting to see that it was the police in this movie that were trying to kind of rev things up quickly so that they could arrest people, detain them, and get their operation done, right? It's long story short, very, very interesting movie, especially with the times that we're living in right now. It is a crazy movie, and very telling at the same time. But I digress. Let me see if there's anything else. Like, I'm waiting to see if there's going to be like a name dropped here, but I haven't heard or seen anything about a name. Hold on. Let's see. So far, I don't see any names yet. All they're saying is the suspect has been identified as a Burton man. Okay. That's it. 40-year-old male. Exited vehicles, firing shots at people. They have not put out the name or the face at all. But people are out here putting out a name and a face, but there's nothing out here to confirm it. That's the problem. Unless the person who lived next door, someone was able to do the reverse math and maybe was able to, I don't know, Zillow their place or something crazy like that. I don't know. But nonetheless, this is nuck and futz, y'all. This is crazy. What? Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. That's interesting. If that's the case, that would be a completely different name. Hold on. What is that name again? Hold on. Let me see. I mean, if that, wow, that would be a completely different name, y'all. Okay, hold on. See, that's the thing. You got a complete. See, this is the issue. See, y'all. Come on now. This is the problem with the doggone internets. They'll say one name, right? They'll say one name, hard in the paint. Now we're getting a completely different name, y'all. Completely different name. Not even in the same vicinity of each other. Okay. What, it's not like, it sounded like a John. You meant Juan? I thought it was a John, but he meant Juan. You know what I mean? Not even remotely sounding the same. All right? Not even. Okay? Now we got something completely different. This is Knuckin' Futz. All we know is he's 40 and he's male, and that's it. But now we're hearing something completely different. A completely different name. Hold on. I'm looking. Sorry, hold on. And I mean, apparently that some people are doing their sleuthing, their internet sleuthing, and they're like, his whole internet has been scrubbed. This dude scrubbed his whole social media. I'm sorry. Like his Facebook and all that has been scrubbed. I wonder why. But now it's a completely different name. I'm sorry, but it's a completely different name. So they're saying that this guy appears to have no official political affiliation, and it shouldn't matter. It should matter why he did this to this church. He is also is said to be a veteran with major complaints about how he was treated by the VA. But then why would he attack a church if this is the guy? You see what I'm saying? And then certain sites are saying that it is this guy. Information possibly gathered from the license plate registration. Police are now at his house with a boom boom squad. So the rumor suspect, can't say his name right now because it's not been verified. All right. Signs on suspect's fence are a stop sign over a Trump Vance sign. Unsure of exact meaning at this time, but speculation will undoubtedly run rampant. People put his stuff out quick, son. Like they got all of his stuff out here. But that's the thing. There's no confirmation if this is the dude. In the last 30 minutes, everyone has found out who what was his political affiliation. I want wondering if he folds his it's at the point where it's like these people are now knowing whether he folds or crumples up his toilet paper before he wipes his own ass. I'm being real. Like people are so fast to know all that, right? So fast. But hold on now. Hold on. We hold on, baby. Hold on. Because like I said, I didn't want to say too much. Didn't want to say too much. One second. Hamburger. Okay, 2 minutes ago, New York Post has put this out. Okay, so we can go ham. Okay, we can go ham now because it's from the New York Post. We got breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Okay, just so you know, completely different name than what we heard before. We're going to say that name here in just a minute. Okay, but we got a couple things to look at before we go into it. Breaking news. Breaking mother loving news. All right. We got some updates, and they have now said the man's mother loving name. Let's take a look at this. Hold on. I hate these pop-up ads. Come on. All right. Take a hike. Here we go. We got some new updates. His name is his name is Thomas Sanford. Thomas Jacob Sanford is the person who did what they did at this LDS church in Grand Blanc. Yeah. So now we can look at all this other stuff. So let's take a look, shall we? Okay. This is the guy right here, Blanc, right here. This is the guy who did what he did, setting the church ablaze, and of course, doing all this. This is the guy. Hold on. Let me blow this up so you guys can see. Blam. Blammo. Breaking news, everybody. Here is the new face of evil. New face of evil. Thomas Sanford. He also goes by Jake. Thomas Jacob Sanford, who apparently goes by Jake. He's an Iraq veteran. He's the one who rammed his car on the side of the building, opened fire. Let me just make this abundantly clear. There was rumors that this man was black. He clearly is not. He's in his 40s for sure. He most definitely is a veteran and proud of it. But he clearly had some serious mental health issues, which made him do exactly what he did. But yes, Thomas Jacob Sanford. Also, he went by Jake. All right. He went by his middle name, or, the nickname of his middle name. There he is. Thomas Jacob Sanford. Let's continue. We're going to come back to that. Okay. The deranged madman who unalived at least 2 people and injured 9 at a Michigan Latter-day Saints church, torching the building and opening fire on fleeing congregants and their families, has been identified as 40-year-old Thomas Jacob Sanford. The Post can confirm. Sanford, a U.S. Marine veteran, according to his mom's Facebook page, rammed his Chevy Silverado truck into the building before unleashing the attack on the church. And he was armed with a semi-automatic rifle. Looks like he's a dad too. An old Facebook post by Sanford's mother says the assailant, who passed away at the scene in a shootout with the police, served in Iraq from 2004 to 2008. Law enforcement sources confirmed that Sanford, from nearby Burton, Michigan, is the line suspect. The source of the blaze was not immediately known, but sources told the Post authorities found several improvised IEDs, on church property, which a boom boom squad was investigating. I know I hate using these code words, but they're necessary, unfortunately. Cops said that there were hundreds of worshipers inside when the attack began, and that an unknown number of victims could be found inside once the building is safe. Sorry. That an unknown number of victims could be found inside once the building is safe to enter after a massive blaze consumed nearly the entire building. We already saw the aerial footage. Obviously, it's bad. Okay. I don't think they're going to be doing church inside that place anytime soon. All right. Social media accounts believed to be connected to Sanford show he's a family man with a wife and young son. That's also interesting, too. And there he is in his uniform, in his Marine uniform. So he had apparently there was a GoFundMe page from 2015, raised more than $3,000 for the couple's now 10-year-old son, who was born with congenital hyperinsulinism, or CHI, a rare genetic condition where the pancreas releases too much insulin. So pictures from the Sanford's Facebook page show the family smiling, posing in the beds of pickup trucks or a field of tall sunflowers. So again, a husband, he had a wife and kids, allegedly a fairly normal family guy, only for this to turn into this. Make it make sense. Here's more. Like I said, this is where, this is all the stuff they were saying. Rumored suspect is, well, now it's been confirmed. So now this is the guy, right? Thomas Jacob Sanford. So apparently they're saying there's signs of like a Trump Vance thing. And of course they're saying, well, we don't know what that really means. No, it sounds like he was a Trump supporter. That's what it sounds like to me. I know some people are going to look at that and go, oh, maybe not. You know what I mean? But I don't know. To me, it sounds like he was a Trump supporter. That's it. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's a Trump supporter or not. What happened here is terrible, and nobody should be doing what he did, period. This attack could be non-political. It may not be political at all. He could have just snapped. That's it. More photos, the same photos that we saw a second ago. But there he is, guys. Doesn't matter. What he did, what they're alleging he did is insane. By the way, they were putting out all kinds of other faces on this guy and other names. Those names were not correct. That's why it's like we have to be very wary and very, very mindful when we are getting the information, because people will blast any type of name and any face out there. And like I said, that guy is probably spitting out his matcha right now on his way to yoga class. Real talk, because he's like, holy crap, that's my face. And they think I did this. I didn't have anything to do with this. Man, my hair is in a man bun and I'm sipping on matcha on my way to a yoga class. Okay, namaste, mother lover. What the hell why is my face all up in these TVs and all up in this internet? Real talk. So again, they say the Facebook account has been scrubbed. Okay, I believe we have identified the deceased assailant. This correlates with the police helicopter searches and the road closures. So again, this is the guy. It has been confirmed. Seems like a happy guy. I'm sure a very beautiful family. So what made him do what he did? He loved to hunt. And I'm assuming that's the car right there. This is a damn shame, y'all. But again, that very truck that we just saw just a second ago right here, that is that truck. This is the same truck, y'all. Same truck. So again, Apologies. Don't mean to show the dead animals. My bad. I'm just trying to show you proof positive that this car is the same car. Okay. So again, oh man, this is a damn shame. Let me see if there's anything more real quick. Okay. And again, I'm saying, if he was a Christian himself, is this really, like, you see what I'm saying? Because it's not like, if it's true that he was a member of that church and then he did what he did, right? Then yes, he did target the church, but it would not be like considered a hate crime. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Because it's not like it's, somebody who's like Muslim and he's going after Mormons, for lack of a better term, right? But again, we need to find out what exactly is going on here. And I think it is a little bit reckless to sit there and instantly say, "Oh, this is an attack once again on all Christians." Hold on, what actually happened here? Why did this happen? Right? It's absolutely a tragedy for sure. But do we know why he did this, or did he just go out his damn mind out of nowhere and do this? Or was it seriously an attack on Christians? We don't know. Hopefully the wife will speak. Hopefully we'll hear from the wife, because this is bad. This is very, very bad. But we're continuing on. I'm trying to see if there's any more information. And then the other thing I also want to point out too, is that the guy who pulled the trigger on the shore at in the Southport, North Carolina tragedy, where 3 people lost their lives, right? He was in a boat offshore taking aim at people, right? He's also a veteran. Just so you know. I think, if I'm correct, he's also an ex-Marine. What's going on? Here, let me show you what I mean. This guy, Nigel, he goes by, he legally changed his name to Nigel Max Edge. Okay. So he was a veteran as well. And this is all like him at, I guess, American Idol in 2012 or something crazy like that. But anyway, his real name is Sean DeBois. I don't know. DeBevois. I don't know how to pronounce that. Okay. DeBevois. I don't know. But anyway, that was his, that was his God-given name before he legally changed his name to Nigel Max Edge. Okay. He's also a Marine. So you got Thomas Jacob Sanford, or Jake Sanford, who just did this terrible thing this morning at a Mormon church. He's a Marine. You got this guy here that did that thing in Southport, North Carolina last night. He's a Marine. What's going on here? Let me show you. Oh, this is what I was looking for too, just so you can see it. Proof positive. There is Nigel Max Edge. This is his face. A Marine. So again, this doesn't make any sense, guys. Let me get this. Rock on. Thank you so much. Pascal, Cedar News has an article out with the information on the assailant and other things about him. Let me see. Cedar News. Let me see if there's anything else that they've said, because I am quite curious. Okay. Thomas, Jacob, Sanford. Boom. Let's see. Let's see what they say here. So, of course, they have identified the guy. And there he is. Shocking turn of events. He is the man behind this whole situation at that church. Okay. Lives were lost, worshipers terrorized, and a sacred place of prayer turned into a site of unimaginable violence. The identification of the suspect marks a critical turning point in the investigation as questions swirl about motive, background, and security at houses of worship. Yep, this is most important too. The security at houses of worship, period. I'm sorry. We need to have all places nicely secure, okay? So that people can live their lives peacefully and go worship without losing their lives. What we know. So authorities have now officially confirmed that the suspect, which we already know is Thomas Jacob Sanford, 40 years old, that lives in nearby Burton, Michigan. The identification came hours after the violent attack that left 2 unalive, 9 injured at the services during these services at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He allegedly drove his vehicle into the building's front entrance, okay, at around 10:25 a.m., then exited, opened fire on the congregation. Law enforcement responded quickly in exchanging gunfire with the suspect before taking him out. So timeline of attack, we pretty much know all of this, right? He crashes the car into the church lobby. He begins firing at congregants. Let's see. Building catches fire, either from an incendiary device or resulting damage. Sorry. Officers arrive on the scene within minutes and engage in a shootout with him. Then he's pronounced gone on site. IEDs are discovered inside and outside the church, leading to a boom boom squad response. So that part is true. So they found other pieces, and I guess they just did not work. Either they were duds or he didn't live long enough to set them off. That's also a possibility. Let's see. Motive, military background and investigation. While the motive has not been officially confirmed, the attack is investigated or is being investigated as a potential hate crime or domestic terrorism. The targeting of a religious service, use of boom booms, and arson all indicate significant premeditation. This definitely was premeditated. I think that's fair to say. That's without question. This whole damn thing was premeditated for sure. That's without question. You got IEDs, you got boom boom devices, all that stuff. No, he knew what he was doing. He planned this out. Why this church? That's the thing I think we are all going to want to know. According to law enforcement sources, Sanford is the sole suspect. A Facebook post from his mother revealed that he served in the U.S. Marine Corps in Iraq from 2004 to 2008. Authorities are now investigating whether combat-related trauma, radical ideology, or mental health issues have played a role. I'm going to tell you this. I truly think, and I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. Let me just say this. But my assumption that this is either combat-related trauma or mental health issues. I don't think that has anything to do with radical ideology. I really don't. I really don't. I really, really don't. I don't think this has anything to do with some sort of political ideology or radical ideology. No, I don't think he has some side piece, furry trans side piece that's just talking to him on Discord that inspired him to do this either. Nah, he does not. Like, from what we have seen so far, The vibe I'm getting right now is mental health or combat related trauma. That's truly what I think. I don't think this is I'm going to, nah, for the left or for the right. I don't think that it has anything to do with any political ideology. I really do. But I could be wrong. We'll see. Suddenly they're going to have a note found in his home underneath a keyboard saying, I must be honest with you all. 'Twas a thought that I had to exact this type of vengeance on Mormons. Wait for it. And it'll be like Old English. It'll be written like Shakespeare. It'll be written like ChatGPT. I'm kidding, but I'm not at the same time. Okay? So, do you think that this has some sort of political background? Like some political ideology is the reason, the inspiration of why he did this? I really don't think it is. I really don't. I don't. I'm wondering what his religious background is. I am kind of curious about that. But we'll see. But now we know. Thomas Jacob Sanford is this monster's name. Very interesting, guys. Very interesting indeed. Now, of course, we're going to be, I'm going to keep an eye on this. Unfortunately, I can't stay any longer. I'm going to have to wrap things up. Yeah, we don't know if he's they say, by the way, Schneider on TikTok, they say they do not know his political affiliation. So we don't know who he voted for. We don't know if he rocked with Trump or not rocked with Trump. We don't know if he had some sort of anger or disdain towards anyone that is Christian or anyone that's Mormon. We don't know that part yet at all. All we know, is that this guy did this. This was definitely pre-planned, and we want to know why. Sure, we're going to find out some information here soon, okay? And when that information does come out, we will talk about it. Apparently, there's going to be a press conference around 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, if I'm correct. I unfortunately will not be able to cover that, but expect a short or a small video from me after the press conference does go down. Okay, guys? But we'll see what happens here. Okay? This is crazy. This is crazy. My thoughts and prayers go out to all the people that have suffered from this situation. Those that are fighting for their lives right now, I'm sending nothing but healing, love, vibration, and all that to them and to their families, because everybody right now, we should all be coming together and just trying to send nothing but healing energy to all that were injured or have lost their lives and the families that are grieving the loss of their loved ones' lives right now. And it's all within the last 24 hours. Let's be real. In the last 24 hours, there's been a lot of damage. Off on the shore, a casino, and now we got a church. All within 12 or so hours. That's insane. Our country really needs to find a way to heal, and we need to figure out a way to stop or slow down this cancer, which is these mass tragedies that are consuming our entire country. No one can go out anymore. You can't go to a club. You can't go to a store. You can't go to praise your own, you can't go praise or worship in a church anymore without wondering if somebody's going to bust through the door and start taking people's lives. Shoot, you can't even go to a funeral. Can't even go to a wedding anymore. This is a big problem, and we need to get it figured out as soon as possible. We need to stop the hate, and we need to start loving each other again. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Please do me a favor before you get out of here, okay? If you haven't done it yet, please do me the solid. Hit that like button down below. Hit that reaction button if you're watching over here, okay? Please and thank you. Of course, don't forget to follow, okay? Hit the follow, all right? Also, don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel, my YouTube channel. Subscribe. please go check out my other two channels, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe. If you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check that out too. Support the channel if you can. That'd be amazing. And also check out PascalMerch.com. But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. We'll be talking here soon. I'll give you guys updates on this whole thing very, very soon when they have that press conference. I'll give you guys at least a short or something like that when it happens, okay? But anyway, fingers crossed for everybody. Stay safe out there, guys. And we'll be talking here soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.